Hello, everybody.
Howdy, howdy.
Welcome to Hot on the Presses
Where we're hot.
and on the Presses.
I'm Sophie.
And I'm Megan. So, yeah, we're back again. Isn't it crazy we're back on a normal schedule?
It's so funny. Honestly, I was like, we are doing this bi-weekly again. It is like God has returned to my life.
It's so nice to have that routine and like actually be listening to new releases.
Yeah, it's like so while I was making that giant fucking stupid ass presentation,
Mhm.
it was like the routine of listening to albums was just like a nonstop machine for me, just like grinding one after another, and not even like as work, just like putting it on, letting my brain like just devour it like some kind of strange animal, and then just regurgitating thoughts about it that I had 30 seconds later onto the page. That was it. Go on to the next
Yeah.
one. It is so much more fun to sit down and think about something.
Oh, speaking of music reviewing, did you see Anthony Fantano at Channel 5 Live?
Oh, no, I didn't. I actually forgot that I went to that entirely because Megan, I'm so fucking sorry. It was one of the worst shows I've ever been to in my life. I was
Really?
ungodly bored. It's like,
Oh no.
do you know what like the setup format of it is?
Not entirely. I knew that they were gonna invite like Craigslist like magicians and stuff.
Yeah, so we didn't have any magicians. We did have battle rappers.
Mm.
That was pretty entertaining because one of the guys was really bad and the other guy just completely fucking murked him.
Yeah.
Which it's always you feel a little bad for him. But like it
Yeah,
was
it's,
pretty good.
it's like a jester kind of competition at that point.
Here's the thing I will say, and here's the other thing with me now, like having seen this live and seeing the guy in person and how he is just like moment to moment. I don't know. The whole battle rap thing left a really bad taste in my mouth because it definitely felt like ingenuine. Like he had hired
Mm.
these people and paid them to be here, but like clearly not all that sincerely. Like it felt
He didn't want them to succeed.
yeah, it was like he just the joke was that they were there. Like it very much felt like laughing at them instead of with them. And the
Mm-hmm.
longer the night went on, the more I kind of got that uncomfortable vibe because the other big portion of it is an audience talent show. And like
Mm.
anyone can come up and do whatever. But like there was a guy there who was like sincerely trying to rap. There was a guy there who was like riding a unicycle all across the stage. There was a girl who was like doing flips and shit. And then there was like some girls that got up and like attached a shot glass to one of their legs and like did a handstand over to the other one and then she drank it and then when he came back over and was like, "Oh, yeah, great talent." She like asked him to do a be real with them
Mm.
and then, like, the person who ended up winning the talent show was, like, a guy who just did, like, the thumb removal trick, which,
No
like,
way, dude.
is funny, but, like, I don't know. It's
If
just,
I
like
was rapper guy who came with bars, I'd be sad.
yeah, like, he was really trying. Like, I didn't think they were very good, but, like, he was putting effort into it and, like, really, really sincerely trying. He's actually, like, fairly well known, which I didn't realize. His name is Kosha Dills, and, like, I don't know, I wasn't, like, huge on it, but, like, he could rap, and he rapped sincerely, like, trying to get us all into it, and they,
Hmm.
like, played a beat for him and everything, and he was, like, freestyling. And
Yeah,
I don't
I
know,
feel like
the
if I was giving that effort and somebody won with like a little jokey joke, I'd be a little upset.
yeah, and then, afterwards, like, he showed some unreleased stuff, including stuff from, like, the Folsom Street Fair of, like, people getting pissed on that, like, they and, like, sitting in a pool of piss that he was, like, taken down
Wow.
from YouTube after, like, 5 minutes of being up.
Yeah.
And then, like, some unreleased stuff from the documentary that's coming out.
Hmm.
Um,
Did
and
that look good?
yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed, like, the video content, as I always have with Channel 5, but
Hmm.
I don't know. And then like they took a break, a really long intermission, and then they came back and did like a Q&A panel that was just mind-numbingly boring. Like nobody wanted to ask anything interesting. And I was up in the balcony, which was like not the balcony. It's the venue was the New Haven College Street Music Hall, which is a great venue if you've ever been there. But yeah, like they wouldn't take any questions from anybody up in the balcony, so it was just like the people in the front 3 rows, and like those are the people who paid the most money to be here, and they were asking questions like, I don't know who's your favorite president or
Mm,
whatever. Like no fucking I don't care. Like I don't
yeah.
know. Like, if you're doing a Q&A panel, it's got to be a little bit interesting to justify its length.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just sort of reframed my view of Channel 5, and the whole channel feels a little bit more mean-spirited than it did before. Like, it's just like, I don't know, like, he goes on these wild tangents and, like, investigates these people's backstories, but it doesn't feel like he reaches any conclusions about them. Just like, "Ha, that's fucked up, right?" And then moves on to the next person. I don't know. I wish it was better.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the channel does like kind of revel in just showing these people, but also I think that it is charming in the fact that it shows these people and doesn't draw conclusions, because it's not telling you like you should like this person or agree with their choices. It's just like this is a person that exists in the world and I'm exposing you to that information. And I think that that's kind of the core of the kind of journalism that he's trying to do, is just to
Yeah.
show subcultures and make people aware that they exist.
With man on the street stuff like that, I feel like you don't necessarily need an angle, no, but you do need the full picture. And I feel like sometimes he's not really interested in the full picture, which like it's fair to just like say like, oh, here's the Folsom Street Fair where a bunch of people piss on each other. Isn't that fun? But like you don't get the full picture of why people are there or what people say they're there for, you know? Like he's just asking the guy in the piss pool if he has any regrets about his life. Like it's just like it isn't not that I think the guy in the piss pool wants to be respected necessarily, but it doesn't feel very
Yeah.
respectful.
Yeah, no, I see that. I think that when he does more like overtly political coverage, I think it's a little bit less point and laugh and there's more diversity, I guess, in the opinions.
Yeah.
Which I've always appreciated. But yeah, the sort of like, I won't say throwaway videos, but the less important ones, I guess,
Mhm.
are definitely, I think, just sort of an expose on different cultures, which, I mean, I think that it's reasonable because he covers a lot of different kinds of subcultures, not just like heavily like right-wing hick ones like the Folsom
Yeah, he
Street
does
Fair,
weird shit all the
but
time.
also like the fucking Ernest Hemingway competition that he covered recently.
Yeah.
And I don't think that more superfluous events like that really necessarily even need an angle, because if you're going there, you're just going there to enjoy yourself generally.
Did I yeah, no, that's all fine, obviously. Like if there's no like if it's just like a weird event that's happening for fun, I don't care if you're like there to like examine the
Yeah,
morality or the politics of anything. I don't even care if I want the morality and the politics of some of the far right wing events because I know that in the end I'm just going to say fuck that and don't give a shit about it. But
yeah.
what he like I feel like it is interesting to examine like the humanity of some of the people that go to these things and be like what in your life led you to this point. Like I feel like that's the kind of thing that he aims to do but doesn't always get there. That's my opinion, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's reasonable. I think it's just a matter of what you kind of want out of it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like he might just not be able to find people who want to
Yeah.
discuss where how they got there. Like man in the piss pool might not want people in his life to see that necessarily, or much less know like, oh, it's my mother who did this to me, and then his mom sees and is like, you're in a piss pool because of me? What do you fuck you mean?
The best line of the entire bit there was he like kneels down in front of the guy in the piss pool and he is just butt ass naked, like just
Yeah,
interviewing this butt ass naked man in an inflatable kiddie pool full of piss, and people are just like walking by pissing on him. It was hard to watch at points. It was pretty gross.
yeah.
But he asks the guy like, have you had any success in your love life? And the guy's like, no, not for years. And
Oh,
he's like, who's your ideal partner? And he's like, well, she needs to be kind, funny, intelligent, share a lot of my same values. And, a piss fetish would be great too. It's just like, it is good content. And I
Yeah.
do definitely still like the YouTube videos. It's just like having seen him in person now and watched him like show this battle rap thing as like weird, ironic spectacle when these two people were like genuinely trying to put on a good show. Like it just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. That reminds me of my brother saw Game Grumps live back in the day, pre
Phew!
anti Grumps, like pre all of that.
God.
In like 2016 or like 15 or something like that.
Back when they were
Um,
saying the N-word instead of pretending they never said the N-word.
yeah, precisely. But it made my brother stop and his friends stop watching Game Grumps because it was so boring and they felt like they had been ripped off and they were
That's
like,
so
well, now I just
funny.
don't want to watch it because they said that it
Yeah,
was literally just them playing Mario Party with the audience and it was just like it was like just couch co-op and it was so boring. I was like, that makes sense that it would be boring. And now Game Grumps run a tour company.
the tickets for this for $40, and I definitely wish I could get my money back. It's okay. Um, the
Speaking of money though.
I was just gonna say so I'm in Connecticut where Anthony Fantano also is, and Anthony Fantano lives like 15 minutes from New Haven, Connecticut. I think he's in Middletown, which is not that far. And I really not sounding like a stalker here. But given that Fantano has been on Channel 5 before, and I know that he's bros with the Channel 5
Andrew.
crew,
Yeah.
Andrew specifically, yeah, but I was kind of like really, really afraid that he was gonna be there and like do something, and he did not show. So actually, I think I may have dodged a bullet with this one.
Dude, but
I really tested fate.
imagine, imagine him and Andrew battle rapping instead of those two guys.
Imagine like people were like hanging outside after the show, like looking for Andrew to get his autograph, and I would literally just be like going around the back trying to like beat up Fantano in an alley.
Yeah. Uh, like, you're so wrong about the Gilla Band album. Megan says so.
This one's for Megan. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Dude, I'm not going to talk about Fantana because that's such like obligatory music reviewer talk, but like a 5?
A
Come
5.
on.
A 5.
Okay, speaking of getting your money back,
Okay.
I want to tell you about something.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know if you were aware, but Epic Games and Fortnite have been sued by the Federal Trade
What?
Commission
What?
for alleging that Epic Games' privacy settings put children at risk of harm and claims Fortnite contained dark patterns to trick players into making unwanted purchases. And
Whoa.
today, they reached a historic $520 million settlement.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah, because it was like a group of parents who alleged that their parents became, or that their kids became shittier after they started playing Fortnite,
Oh my
because they were
god.
addicted to it and they were spending money on V-Bucks and
Oh my
like
god.
basically gambling for skins and shit.
$19 Fortnite card. You can no longer have it.
No, that was monkey noise. Ooh,
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 ooh, ooh.
ooh,
Leave
ooh.
society
Sugriva.
be a
Have
monkey.
you seen the Sugriva dinner time video?
What the fuck? No.
Oh my
You are
god.
just like throwing. It's like I'm standing on the
I'm
on the
having a supremely ADHD conversation right now.
I'm standing on the wall and you're just like throwing knives at me and just narrowly missing every single time.
I'm gonna send you the Sugriva dinner time meme real quick. It's 25 seconds long.
Okay.
Um, I'll probably edit it in. It's just too good. I hope everybody's seen it.
Who's out here having dinner? Who could it be? Whose toes are those? Who's that great ape right there? SUGRIVA. Is it dinner time? Is it dinner time? Oh, I think it is. I think it
Best thing ever.
Megan,
Is it dinner time?
Whose toes are those? Oh my god. I have to watch that again, but I can't do it right now because I am going to lose my shit again and I have to talk about music.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh my god. Tell me what happened with Fortnite. Megan, stop talking about chimpanzees and tell me about Fortnite.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh,
so
my head.
basically, no more monkey noises. The settlement includes a record $275 million penalty to settle alleged violations of COPPA.
Holy shit.
And $245 million over purchasing setup that could trick players and allow them to buy things on accident. So basically, it's like saying that Fortnite is the king of micro purchases or microtransactions, and also like fully allows kids to just get stuck on the purchase screen.
This is like, I don't know. Look, I'm not going to claim to have ever played Fortnite in my entire life. The closest I have come to it was watching somebody else play it in the same room as me, like in college, like maybe a little bit after it first started to get big. And I was hanging out with my girlfriend who had flown in to visit me from Maine and like some of our other friends. And then this one guy that I was friends with at the time is just like sitting in the corner playing Fortnite, like while we're hanging out and drawing.
Yeah.
And judging by this man's childlike mental abilities, I could see how someone like him, but 6 years old, could get very, very, very stuck on Fortnite.
Yeah.
And cause them to lose a $550 million lawsuit about it.
Yeah. One thing that I did think was interesting that I heard being brought up is that this is like, it could potentially be the next in a long line of franchises and like properties that parents use as an excuse to say that they aren't the reason their kid sucks. And their kid just sucks.
Have you seen I'm curious. I wonder if they're gonna go after fucking Coco Melon next.
That would be great, actually.
It'd be very funny. I've applied to work at numerous jobs for Coco Melon, so I really hope they don't listen to this podcast. But fuck Coco Melon. Anyway, the funniest, like, have you seen the donkey Fortnite Among Us video?
I have not. I'm not
Because
a frequent donkey watcher.
I love that man. I love that man so much. They put Among Us in Fortnite. If you were not aware of this, you can just play like it's not Among Us, but it is Among Us. Like there is a mode in Fortnite that's just you can play Among Us, but in Fortnite. And Fortnite is free and Among Us is not. So a lot of kids like migrated to play Among Us on Fortnite. And it's just him as like an adult man trying to play this game on voice chat, and it's all people like 11 and below, and they are all just well and truly off the rocker. And obviously I know the video is like edited to show the craziest parts of it and he's probably playing for longer or whatever, but like holy shit. I could see someone losing some money over this.
Yeah. It's always so funny to me when big corporations like this get slapped, because I'm like, why aren't the rest of you who do things like this getting slapped?
That's actually also what I was going to say, is that online gaming has been like this for fucking ever. Like, this is not, I mean, yes, microtransactions are a newer and like more actively, I don't want to say more dangerous, but like equally bad thing. But like online gaming has been toxic and encouraged toxicity for fucking ever.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's like a core issue for these parents, like,
don't let your kids game.
Yeah,
or set them on single player stuff.
Just let them play with their friends. Like, just have your kids go over to their friends' houses and play a video game on the couch. It is that easy.
Have a LAN party.
Have a LAN party.
Yeah, and this also got me thinking, not to bring up the big man, but it also got me thinking about what's gonna happen to Sir Elon. Because this is probably going to be out of date by the time it comes out, because this shit is changing day by day, but like he's violating antitrust rules in both America and the EU. So
he's also violating numerous building codes, which is really funny. Yeah, because he's making people stay in the Twitter building. Like, he's changing a bunch of the rooms into basically hotel rooms, which you fucking can't do that, especially not in California where like people actually police that shit. Like there are actually organizations in place that will crack out on you for that shit. Like you super can't do that, and I think he is going to get heavily busted for it. Yeah, they literally is changing day by day with him. Funny. I don't have any commentary on it except funny. Funny to watch this guy melt down because he made a bad investment.
A horrendous, cataclysmic investment.
Yeah.
I don't even know what he was thinking. Probably not at all.
He was just throwing his fucking weight around like he has for the last billion years, and then the Twitter board was like, "Oh, you dead ass?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm dead ass." And they said, "Okay, we're going through with it." And he said, "What?"
Yeah. I wonder what Grimes is thinking right now.
I don't know.
The
She's
forgotten
like
third party,
Chelsea Manning or whatever, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Those two are having the most sex the world has ever seen, and I know it.
I feel like most sex, well, I was gonna say most sex that involves Grimes must be at least a little bit weird, but like she's so fake weird that I was like, I don't think actually.
I will say, I hate all of these people. Chelsea is awesome, but I trust her a little bit less after this whole thing. But I will say she does have one of the greatest tweets of all time, which is the tweet from Chelsea Manning that just says "break core." It literally just is the word "break core." That's the whole tweet by Chelsea Manning. She really understands me.
Man, I didn't really know who Chelsea Manning was before she started dating Grimes, which is really sad to say.
I will say, I think it was a little bit before your time that whole thing happened. It was probably like just before you were alive enough to start paying attention to the news, because it was like just when I started paying attention to the news.
Yeah, I also grew up in the supreme Orange County, California bubble, and it took like large events in the world to get me to start paying attention to the news.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the Fairfield,
New Haven.
No, not New Haven. I don't live in New Haven. I live like 45 minutes outside New Haven. Fairfield County. It sucks. It sucks out here.
Also a bubble.
Yeah, huge bubble, but at least I was transgender.
So you got on the news and the posting early.
Exactly. Speaking about posting, do we want to talk about some albums that were posted a long time ago and were not dropped recently?
That's a 10 out of 10 segue.
Thank you. I've been working on those.
Smooth and silky. Good job. Yeah, let's get into it. We're gonna kick it off with my recommendation for Sophie, which was Queens of the Stone Age, self-titled.
I feel a little bamboozled, I have to say.
So should we give them context on your time with Queens of the Stone Age?
Oh yeah, I mean, Quadeca have been in my music listening experience. I'm gonna fucking sneeze in 1 second.
Part of your music listening experience.
Yes. Sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
I said part of your music listening experience.
I think I blacked out. I don't think I heard what you said again. What was that?
part of your music listening experience.
I think you're going into a tunnel or something. I can't quite understand you. My brain is just like auto censoring everything you're saying.
Okay, let's try again.
Yeah, sure. Can you give me one more?
Yeah. Part. You get that?
No, what?
Part of your music listening experience.
This is like Stewie Griffin. Say cool. Now say whip. Now say cool whip. Cool whip.
Yeah, literally.
This is my first and only Family Guy reference that I've ever made in earnest, and if I ever do it again, shoot me. Anyway,
we should put Subway Surfers in the corner of this video, and then Family Guy best of to get the Zoomers to watch.
One of my coworkers asked me last week if I had seen the hour-and-a-half long movie-length full parody of Star Wars that Family Guy apparently did, and I was like
Bro.
insulted that he even asked. No, I have not.
Yeah. I will say I do get stuck on YouTube. Like, what is it? YouTube Shorts? I hate keeping track of all of these different rip-off names. Um, but I get stuck on YouTube Shorts listening to Family Guy clips. I just sit there like a brain-dead child and take them in.
Brain leaking out of your ear.
I feel like that, and I finish and I'm ashamed.
Every time I see one, I'm just gonna let that last sentence sit by itself. Just gonna let everyone listening take that as out of context as they want.
Put that on my tombstone.
Yeah. Anyway, should we talk about Queens of the Stone Age?
Perhaps.
Do you want to just delete this whole thing and start again from the Queens of the Stone Age like introduction?
No, this is good. I like this.
Oh, this is like Bakugo level content. Anyway.
No, it's
Anyway,
better than that.
Queens of the Stone Age have been in my music vocab for a very long time because of No One Knows, which is their biggest hit and just a very good song in general. That was one that got recommended to me way back in like my Pandora days when I was like first discovering that music outside of what was on the radio existed. And yeah, no, it stuck with me. Quadeca rule. They have so many good albums and so many just absolute complete bangers that I could not even really begin to list them here. But my listening ship of them starts at Lullabies and continues from there, and I had never listened to anything before them. Songs for the Deaf is awesome, obviously rated R. I know a couple songs off there. I think that one is actually their second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do know a couple songs off there, but that was already when they were starting to move away from this direction. And obviously, Like Clockwork is their best record, and then Villains, which we don't really talk about.
Villains is the ugly stepchild.
Yeah, it's
the Mark Ronson stepchild.
It's fine. Both of us just learned before this that it was produced the whole way through by Mark Ronson, which makes a lot of sense in retrospect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Quadeca, but I have a very defined idea in my head of what they are.
Which is late Quadeca.
Yeah, which is late Quadeca, which is like their their maximum strut, like Josh Homme in his like fucking Cadillac, like blazing down the desert highway, like singing about how he's the coolest motherfucker in the room and truly believing it even when he is not. And this is like an hour of stoner metal, and I just was not prepared for that when I turned it on. It made me a little frustrated with the album, although I don't think it's really the record's fault. I've listened to a bit of Kyuss also, and that is also, is that really how you say it? I just had a RZA moment.
We both have dirt on the podcast.
Yeah. Except I accept it's really unclear which of us looks whiter.
Definitely me.
All right. Maybe I'm just faking being Scandinavian. So I've heard a little bit of insert band name that shall not be repeated here. And it's also not for me, although I definitely respect it. And I think if I had been expecting something a little closer to that, then I would have maybe come out of this a little better. But I was just frustrated with it for most of the time. I just wanted it to be something that it is not. It just did not satisfy the very like super self-indulgent groovy itch that I go to Quadeca for. And I think on another note, building songs around heavy repetition, even just more generally for me, needs a bit more subtlety. Because this is like someone running a drill in your ear repeatedly several times by design. But I think for me, you can't have both. Like you can sound like a drill or you can be very repetitive, like purposefully. But you can't have both. And it makes it very hard for me to lose myself in it when it's constantly drawing attention to both how abrasive the sounds are and how repetitive it is, and not even going like above and beyond exaggerated about it in the way that the Gilliband album that I didn't love but definitely respect from earlier this year did.
I see that. I think that the like split in their discography that kind of happens at, I'd say at Era Vulgaris,
Mhm.
where they go from a little bit less like off the wall and like electronic and abrasive and drill music, not in the British sense, but in the actual power drill sense.
Not drill music in Zion.
No.
Drill music in Arizona.
Wow, I forgot that album existed. Damn. But yeah, so it goes less from that to more gothic, very smooth, kind of aggressive but still quite suave
Yeah.
music, which is I actually have to be in more of a mood to listen to that versus I will very readily just throw on rated R era songs for the deaf or the self-titled because I like the grit. What can I say? I love noisy stuff. We established this a while back that I have been on an eviscerating my ears like kick for the last few months. And
I
this
think it's
kick
more
has
than a kick
been,
at this point. I think
yeah,
you're just like living
I
your
think
truth.
I realize now that this has just been a whole life thing. I always love songs that are really loud and mean. And I actually don't register the repetition that much on this album, which is kind of funny because that's like the whole point. But I just get really enthralled by Josh's vocal performance on this album.
Hmm.
And I also am a big fan of the bass tone. The bass on this album
Bass tone's
sounds
awesome. I will give it that.
amazing. Yeah, so I'm just listening to that and listening to Josh croon over it, and I think that the dichotomy between those two is like so played on this album that I think that
Yes.
it does it really well.
That was one of my like really like good points about this album because there was stuff I liked. I was frustrated with it for most of it, but there was stuff I liked. It did not completely pass me by.
Yeah,
On Walking in the Sidewalks was a song specifically that I really like
I
was
love that
able to
song.
lock into that contrast that you were talking about. The
Hmm.
production on this album is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So the first time I listened to this, I was in my car and for some reason, I don't know why, this doesn't happen with like most of this because I listen to a lot of music in my car for the first time, and it doesn't like do this to a lot of stuff. And I think it's probably because it's old. I think it may have flattened it into mono, and I don't
Mm.
know why because I didn't pick up on any of the like weird panning shit or how
Yeah.
layered the production actually is until my second spin just now, which was like that was why I was a little late to come
No,
in
you're
here.
good.
I was giving it a second shake and I was like, oh fuck, this is like way better produced than I thought it was because I had a bunch of notes about how I didn't like the production and then I was actually listening to it with headphones and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Walking on the Sidewalks really commits to like the metal of it, which I
Hmm.
think I was sort of waiting for it to do at points. Like it is lumbering and heavy and totally fried. The rhythm of it is so like unsteady almost.
Hmm.
And then Josh Homme goes right into like crooning over it, like you said.
Hmm.
And the contrast of how like melodic he is versus the just like fucking dirt all over this instrumental. I really appreciated that. This was like more of a drone I could get behind. It feels like it was one of the only songs on here that for me earned the like listlessness and ennui that the rest of it
Hmm.
has. I also really liked If Only, which I think that's the
Mm.
single.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, predictable. I like the chorus here a lot. This is kind of the first appearance of him, as far as I can tell, in like his full belt mode. Um, doing that like I'm the coolest, slickest motherfucker in the room thing.
Hmm.
And like I will say, No One Knows was my first Queens of the Stone Age song, but the song that really hooked me on them was Smooth Sailing from Like Clockwork, which
That makes sense.
that song goes fucking crazy. That
Yeah,
song
that makes total sense why you're expecting the swagger then, because that song is
um
like their most overtly swaggy.
yeah, that song goes dumb, and I think all over Like Clockwork, Josh really plays with his delivery. Like
Hmm.
he is in like so many different weird modes all over that album. Um, like he's like croaking sometimes. He's going like
Hmm.
wow, like all like on a bunch of songs. And on this one, like he is locked into the croon, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. But I ended up okay with that. Like that his performances were not any part of my my distaste for this one. I also liked the Bronze, which was like that's a bonus track. It says on Spotify, but it's also just like right in the middle of the track list.
I always think that's so funny.
And that was like being cock slapped via audio. Honestly, it was just like, whoa, there it is. There's what I was looking for all at once. That song just flattened me. That was my favorite track by far. And like what I was kind of hoping a more stoner metal-y quadeca album would sound like. Because it's at the pace that a lot of their other newer music is at, but with still a lot of repetition and a lot of those sounds. And that guitar solo just fucking shredded my brains out.
Yeah, that song rocks.
And then, surprising myself, my other favorite was Spiders and Vinegaroons, which I don't know why. Logically, I shouldn't like this, but I think I just kind of do because of how weird and alone it is in the track list, especially as the second to last. I appreciate the commitment to how like weird and synthy this is. It sounds like the desert in like a really different way than the rest of the album does.
Yeah, and then the drum kick at the end.
Yeah, the drum shit at the end was awesome. It really like the name Spiders and Vinegaroons was like, oh, I'm being menaced by giant bugs right now is actually what's happening. If you've never seen a vinegaroon before, you should Google that because they whip ass. That was a pun. Yeah, that's about all the like really positive stuff I have to say about it. I don't really want to go through all my like least favorite tracks because I mostly didn't like them for the same reasons. Like you would know, just was kind of ugly to me. You Can't Quit Me, Baby. I think I could see that one kind of growing on me with time, but I was like on the carousel and wanted to get off.
Yeah, this album has sat with me for so long. I don't really have any least favorites, but I will say you would know is a one that clicked with me recently.
Yeah.
And You Can't Quit Me, Baby, the end of it used to stress me out when I was a kid and I couldn't listen to it.
When it like speeds up really fast.
Yeah, it would make me like nervous, but now I'm better with it.
Oh, you know what? I actually do want to talk about Hispanic impressions for a second. Megan, you can't fool me. This is circus clown music. This is so lurching, and I could not get the image of my head of like a shitty clown riding a shitty horse out of my head. This is one of very few songs that has ever made me feel a little bit motion sick.
So funny. I'd never felt that way about that, but that's so funny.
It's so like ba-dumph, 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 ba-dumph,
yeah,
ba-dumph.
It is.
And yeah, I think that's about it. Teenage Hand Model is an interesting way to end it off. I like that it was all about
sounds.
Yeah, this is a song that makes you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's a quieter song, and it's kind of all about the melody, which has not been the case for the whole rest of this album. And like it's got some hums and whistles and stuff that are a nice like
freak ass frequency.
Yeah. And then but like the actual song of it doesn't quite get there. I don't think enough to be going back worthy for me. And then what a fucking outro. You're right. That like that kind of hurt me to listen to a little bit.
Yeah,
like that
hurts me too.
That was very loud and very, very owie.
So I don't know if you know this, but this is actually the re-release version that they put out after the original. So the original is kind of lost to time now. Because I believe the one that came out is 1999, but it says 1998 because it's the only one that was available. And they repressed on vinyl the original 1998 version recently. I got one. And it is lacking 3 songs, which it doesn't have the Bronze. It doesn't have Spiders and Vinegaroons. And it doesn't have These Aren't the Droids You're Looking For. So it doesn't have basically most of the instrumental tracks, and it doesn't have the arguably best song on the album. So the re-release is the superior one, but it's definitely interesting to see what they had on the back that they just decided to slap on at the end.
Yeah, that's so weird. It's also very stupid and funny that I liked all the songs that got added on for the re-release. Great job.
Yeah, and I think that part of that is because the bronze, I think, is a real tell for where they're gonna go.
Yeah, for sure. Like it is
Um,
very much like this is the source point.
yeah, so it feels like maybe they put this album together and then recorded that one and were like, wait, this is really good. Maybe we
Yeah.
should put it on.
Oh, that is
Um,
from it's apparently originally from a split EP called The Split CD, with the band Beaver, who I've never heard of.
what the fuck?
Yeah, but that is where it originated from. The bronze and These Aren't the Droids You're Looking For came from this EP, and they were
Gotcha.
added onto this because that EP is actually very rare right now.
Hmm, interesting. Um, yeah, that makes sense.
I
But
want this to be Josh Homme on the cover so bad. I know it's probably not, but I want to think that it's him in that Speedo. Shall we progress to something that perhaps both of us can be annoying about now?
indeed we can.
All
All
right.
right. Now you go.
Oh, I get to go. Let us move on to my selection for Megan, which was the one, the only MF Doom, aka Victor Vaughn, with Vaudeville Villain.
Borrowed time rhymes, gassed by the silver screen. They act like they monkey ass, get healed back like Wolverine. Mellow out, what y'all bellow out, y'all yellow mouth. What happened to the type of spit that used to help a fellow out? No doubt, leave a rapper in a body cast. I wonder what he was doing while we was in karate class. Snotty ass, it's really like he was a white belt.
Yay!
Wahoo!
Yay! Okay, this album is my second attempt at listening to Doom because I had tried for Mad Villainy before.
Yes.
And I was very overwhelmed by it.
Overwhelmed.
Yes, both because of the sort of mythos behind it.
Yeah.
And I was overwhelmed by the fact that I didn't feel like I was getting all of it my first time around. And I was
Yes.
like, I'm sorry. So I felt bad. And then also, just the fact that Madlib's beats do offer a lot, which I was very excited about. But also that in tandem with beat sort of with Doom sort of, they say that Doom doesn't find the beat finds Doom. And so I was like sort of like jarred by the way that he rapped at first. And then also he's saying so much.
Yeah.
He says so much. And so I was like, wow, I'm really not catching everything. So I was just sort of tired after from trying to get it all. But I think that
Mad Villainy is very much a sketchbook.
Yeah.
Like, I think what people like about it, but I definitely understand how that can also be like a bit jarring.
Yeah, I think that on repeat listen, I would like it more after having spent more time in rap and like now with this album. But I really, really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
The production was great.
Crazy shit on
It's
here.
so pretty. I thought that the beats were. This is produced by Doom, right?
No, it is not. It is one of the so he only self-produced a couple of his records. I have to look at the list, but I know he did Food is mostly him. And I think that okay, yeah. Doomsday and Food are all him. And I think Born Like This is mostly him also. But Mad Villainy is Madlib, Mouse and the Mask is Danger Doom, obviously, and then yeah, I think he also has JJ Doom. Yeah, I think Food and Doomsday are the only two he produced entirely by himself. This one is a bunch of different producers. There's a lot of people on this one.
Okay, so I did find that really interesting, and the production just overall was really beautiful and very full.
Yeah.
And I thought that the lengths of them were very complementary to the beats because none of them were too long or became like overly repetitive.
Yeah.
I think that was also sort of aided by how good the flows were because even when the beats might have like maybe with another MC over it given me a little bit of like this could be cut short or this could be like improved somehow.
Yeah.
I was just enthralled by the way that he was rapping, and like even if I'm not like catching everything that he's saying,
It's impossible to.
yeah, the way that he hangs on the words and the way that the wordplay, like the rhymes play off each other, is so complex and so like interesting and varied that it's really hard to get bored listening to it, I think.
Yeah.
The strings on tracks like Dead Mouse were really compelling and added some like delicateness to the beat that I thought was needed. The beat on Radon was really cool. It had that like industrial sort of edge.
That's maybe my favorite Doom beat. Radon is an amazing song.
Yeah. Can I Watch was very funny.
Yeah, I love that one.
It's a great like parody, and I like that. The part at the end when he's like, "So when he coming over?" Okay, well, let me know. Just knock on the door.
He successfully plays such like a weird douchebag on that song, which is so funny because like that's so not the character that he plays on like 95% of the rest of his music, and he does it so convincingly. Like even his word choice and stuff is just like, I am like a 17-year-old complete shit.
Yeah, but he definitely plays that like successfully, and I think that it was very funny to listen to, and it was kind of a nice bit of levity, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we're honestly, I get graded on by skits sometimes, but the skits on the like open mic songs
Oh yeah.
were really good, and the weed rap at the beginning of number 2
Mhm.
was very funny. I was like bionic weed.
Do you know about the concept of this album?
Is it a play?
No. So he's playing this character, Victor Vaughn, who is like a time traveling mad scientist, like drug pusher. And this is that character going to an open mic night and like bombing. It's such a weird thing to base a whole album around, and it's pretty loose, but like it is bizarre.
I guess like I didn't catch it the first time, but I'm sure on repeat listen I would definitely be like, "Oh, that makes sense." I did notice. Well, I was also listening to this with my friend who is a Doom stan. So he was like, "Do you want to know the lore?" I was like, "What's the lore?"
The lore?
He was like, "Do you know that like Victor Vaughn hates MF Doom?" And I
Yeah,
was like,
there's
"Oh my god."
that's a song on that's a Mad Villainy thing. Because on fuck, what song was it? It's Fancy Clown. Doom steals Victor Vaughn's girl, and they have like an argument with like he's doing the two different characters.
And then my brother was like, he was like, "Oh, what are you listening to?" And I was like, "Oh, a Doom project." He says, "Which one?" I say, Vaudeville Villain. He goes, "What? Victor Vaughn is Doom?" And I was like, "Yeah."
What?
And he was like, "Oh, I thought that they were two different people because there's a Victor Vaughn feature on Mad Villainy."
They're just two guys who sound and rap exactly the same. Doom
I
has
was like, there's your thing for the day.
This is breaking my brain because Doom has like 50 billion different aliases. That's like one of the things people know about him that aren't even into him, is that like he's MF Doom sometimes, he's just Doom sometimes, he's Mad Villain sometimes, he's JJ Doom sometimes.
Iron Fingers or whatever.
Metal Fingers.
Metal Fingers, I got close.
And like, why would you not just assume it was another one of the, I don't fucking know. Whatever. I feel like every time you bring up your brother, I just mercilessly insult him. I'm sure he's cool.
He's funny. We have a lot of good conversations. I love him. He got me pizza today.
Wow. Kindness.
What a good brother.
What a good brother.
Yeah, so I would like to know where in your Doom ranking this album sits.
This is number 1 for me. And I have to say it is because of the production. I love Doom is my favorite rapper. He always will be. He is my favorite rapper's favorite rapper. He always will be. And I don't know, something about this one really just caught me different because I love Doom, and I hate to say this, I don't love his beats all the time. They get me kind of in the same mode as The Alchemist, where like I get it, but there's often not too like enough there for me to really hang on to, because I'm just enamored with the way he raps. And I think sometimes on Food, which in my personal like obnoxious ranking is lower than a lot of people put it. I think on Food he can get like caught up in like producing for the song a lot of times, and sometimes like, and what I mean by that, I guess, is like he's splitting his attention, you know, like he's simultaneously
Mhm.
trying to rap and also like make the beat to the rap he's written. And I think it doesn't always lend itself to the most like spontaneous moments that I love so much about some of the other moments in his discog. And I think on this album, him not having to worry about the beats, not having to worry about like having a united front with one producer,
Mhm.
and not having, and like being able to focus solely on making the bars as like A plus as they possibly can be. He just like, this album is one song after another of just like some of the most insane shit he has ever rapped, like topically,
Mhm.
lyrically, and structurally, just fucking unbelievable one after another here.
Yeah, there was really not one song on here that I was like, kind of mid.
Yeah, and then, like, the beat selections themselves are, like, just unbelievable. The first real song, like, the beat on the title track, just, like, busted my shit open the first time I heard it. Like, I had never heard a beat like this, and then to hear him saying the things that he says on that song over that beat just demolished me. Lick Upon is I'm literally just fucking looking at the track list here. Lick Upon is incredible. The drop is amazing. Lactose and Lecithin, the storytelling on that song is crazy. Um, him rhyming like lactose and lecithin with like my homies that only speak Mexican is like, he's just the best. There's nothing. The ending of Pop Snot where he's like, everything goes like snot bubbles, like the way he says that, just, he is so laser focused on like being the best vocalist in rap at this point on this record that he just brings it. And it makes me sad that this one is so underrated in his catalog because I think it is his most focused album for sure. Um, I don't know. I could yell about this album for another 10 years. What'd you think of the closer?
Oh, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I love that
I
song.
mean, honestly, I liked everything on this album. So I can't really think of one that I was like disengaged in
Mhm.
or anything. Um, I'm actually shocked that this doesn't get more love. Because all I hear about is Mad Villainy and Food.
Food, yeah. Um, I feel like an insane person for Food not really doing it for me. Like, I like it. There's a lot of songs that are really good on it, but like Rap Snitch Knishes and One Beer being like his two biggest song. Oh well, Doomsday, I guess. But like those two being like the songs is just fucking insane to me when every goddamn track on this album is a heater. Like there's no misses. He doesn't miss. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and like,
For the closing track, did you mean the bonus one, the
yeah,
change the
Untitled.
beat?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually listening to that one, and I thought that it was very relaxing for the first half,
Yeah.
and then the drop kicked in, and I was like, "That was neat," and then
Yeah.
it was another drop, and I was like, "Hello."
Yeah, that's like that song is like, Doom does beat switches not super often. Like he there's a few, but that is one of the only ones where he's like, okay, I am going to do one track where I change the beat like 4 separate times and I'm just going to smoke every single one of them. And
Mhm.
it's so good. Somehow like
Yeah.
having 2 minutes of rain in the middle of it just doesn't come across as annoying at all cuz
Yeah.
he knows that he's good and he knows he's keeping you waiting. And then when he finally comes in with like the really fast flow towards the end of this, it just like, I don't know, it kicks ass. This album's so fucking good.
Yeah, and I did notice that the bonus track is titled or is credited to Doom and not
Yeah,
Victor Vaughn.
I think it's because it's like outside of the story of
The
it or
canon.
whatever, yeah. But it is still a banger and I think fits better on this one than any of his other projects.
Yeah.
Just because like the whole thing with this one is how varied the beats are, and that one's whole thing is like, I am going to change the beat.
Yeah, no, I thought that this was really interesting. It definitely made me want to go back and hear more of his.
Yeah.
Um, and I have had that King Ghidorah album saved
Um,
forever.
I'd say you could pass that one for now.
Okay, I just like the cover.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it is a good album, but he's actually not on that one very much. He entirely produced it. It only has a couple verses. It's mostly like other people in the Monster Island Czars group. All of whom are fun, but none of them are as good as him.
And then obviously I need to go back to Mad Villainy just for the cultural literacy, I think.
It's great. It is fantastic. It is probably one of his best. It's just I think your like being overwhelmed by it is very fair, and it reminds me of a lot of the things that happened to me with like some of the like dad rock albums that we talk about on here, like my like you're not allowed to like get this thing. But yeah.
Do you have any that I should go to next in particular?
I can give you my ranking.
Okay.
So this is my favorite. Right after it is Doomsday, which I know I just got done like saying his production isn't always that great, but I don't know, something about how like raw that one is just God gets to me. Then Mad Villainy, then actually I think I have Mouse and the Mask above Mad Villainy because I don't think that's a better album than Mad Villainy, but that was my first Doom album and it's just a huge nostalgia pick. And then Mad Villainy, and then Food, and then kind of the ones that are not as good below that, like Born Like This and JJ Doom. Though JJ Doom is better than Born Like This. I would say after this one, yeah, maybe try Mad Villainy again, and then maybe head back to Doomsday because that one's much more like 90s. Yeah, I would try Doomsday or Food next.
Okay.
If you want to please me, you could do Mouse and the Mask, but that one is like it's Cartoon Network. Like it samples Cartoon Network all over it, so I'm just I'm obsessed with that.
My friend who's a Doom stan also said I should listen to Special Herbs next time I do homework.
I've actually never heard all the Special Herbs series all the way through because there's a lot of them and they are very good and relaxing. But I mean, I said what I said about Doom's production. I don't think it's always absolutely incredible.
Yeah. All right. Shall we go on?
Yeah, let's head on. Let's head into the Beef Boys for this week. Album
Avenue. Choo choo. Here we go.
I don't think trains go on avenues. You want to give that one another shot? You want to give that metaphor another shot?
We're going on the track album train. Choo choo.
How about this? Can I take a stab at it?
Yeah.
Now pulling into radio station. Choo choo.
But we're not on the radio.
Are we not SCAD radio?
We are.
More than music.
I'm sorry.
Which one of us is an employee here?
They don't pay me enough to promote them in my own podcast.
They don't pay me shit, and here I am.
Fair point. Okay. We're now pulling into radio station, everybody.
Thank you.
Choo choo.
This is my recovery from my incredible segue earlier.
Yeah, can you give me a good choo choo, a hearty choo choo?
Choo choo.
Beautiful. Okay, guys, everybody at home, do a good choo choo out loud wherever you are.
Yep. All of you,
with
please.
gusto.
We're waiting.
Use your diaphragm,
please.
Let's give a moment of silence. Good job.
That was great, guys.
That was so good. Oh my god, I heard it around the world.
Yeah.
All right.
Beautiful chorus.
Yeah, how gorgeous. All right. Our first album this week is going to be Gupi or Guppy with Paper Eater. Oh Lord, he eating.
What?
He eating paper.
I guess he is. I suppose he did eat that. I mean, I see this title, and I think like either LSD, which I'm glancing at the cover, or I'm thinking he's just like crumpling up paper into his mouth and chewing it and swallowing it. And I think both of those do apply to this album, which is great.
The LSD did not even cross my mind. Hello, I'm straight edge. All I thought about was him like tearing printer paper and eating it for leisurely snacks.
God.
In my fucked up mind, that's more likely than drugs.
God. That's incredibly funny. I'm just looking at this and like this cover artwork could be on tabs. Like it just could.
Goopy on my strange addiction.
Goopy on my strange addiction till I paper eater. This album is really good, which I'm very happy about. He took kind of an L with his last project, in my opinion. That was this is his second project of the year, but he released the first one in like the very beginning. It was like the first album release of the year, and now this is like one of the last, which is pretty funny. I respect that.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that one was that good. It is called You're It. That one kind of like took a dabble in a like dubstep sound that I know we're gonna go on our dubstep defender soapbox later, but it was like a specific kind of dubstep that sort of went out of fashion after like 2015, and he spent the whole project on it.
Mm.
And this is kind of its own little like very sonically focused project that does one thing for the whole time, but so it kind of feels like a companion to that one, but I definitely think it has a leg up on that one. Like this has a way better idea of what it wants to be.
Yeah, this is just really solid breakbeat.
Yeah.
And it stays interesting all the way through, I think, since it kind of feeds into itself track to track, but it keeps introducing ideas and themes, which is always interesting to pick up on an instrumental album.
Yeah.
It's always cool to be able to notice, like, oh, we're introducing this motif now. Okay, cool. Especially on something this fast paced. So I think that the organization of it is really, really good in that way.
I just love that it is not taking itself seriously at all. Again, on like an
Yeah.
instrumental project, that can be hard to like come across, but like, and I'm not even talking about like with the things that the songs on this album are called, but like he'll be doing like some insane breakbeat shit and then just pivot hard into harpsichord. Like, I don't know, that
Yeah.
rules. I love that.
And you know I like harpsichord.
Yes, we are harpsichord enjoyers on this podcast.
I wrote in my notes this is music that would kill an old person.
Yeah.
But it stimulates my ADHD mind very well.
Prince Philip would have loved this shit.
Yeah, my brain was actually remarkably quiet during the time listening to it.
I mean, it's kind of hard to think about anything else while Goop Honker is blasting in your ear.
Yeah, which I was like, good job, man. You did more than my psychiatrist could. The cover, I think, fits it really nicely as we were talking about. And one thing, this is like a weird thing to say, but I'm glad that it embraced being very electronic.
Yeah.
Like none of the drums or anything approach realism or being mixed in
the
a very
harpsichord that I was talking about is totally like some shitty ass like MIDI thing.
Yeah, like nothing is trying for tactility, which I think is really cool in committing to that breakbeat sound.
Yeah.
It really revels in it, and I think you can definitely feel the fun that it's having.
Yeah, it's like somehow this comes across as taking itself less seriously than even like his past album None, which is like batshit, obviously, but like all his stuff is batshit. But somehow this just feels like the one where he is really like on a sugar high.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. I loved Goop Honker because I think I was looking at the track list for this. I can't remember if I did it before or after, but I think before I sent you that the first song on this album was called Goop Honker, and then I listened to it, and then afterwards I was like, well, that certainly sounds like a song that honks goop. Like I can't say that he titled it wrong.
No, I can't deny that song honks goop real hard.
She honk on my goop till
I goop.
she honk on my goop till I goopy? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It sounds like the whole thing sounds like a video game. Like I would love a game that sounds like this.
Yeah.
I did describe this to a friend as Toby Fox if he smoked crack. And
I see that.
I stand by that. This sounds like some of the more like insane breakbeaty Undertale stuff, but like even more insane and breakbeaty and like willing to like shit its pants a little bit. Yeah, it's good. It's good shit.
I told my friend that I would love to hear a Goopy the Garden collab.
Yeah, I would love to hear him
think
just produce for them.
That would go crazy.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And I don't think either of us have much like song to song to say about this because it really is a full album experience, I think. And it's very brief. So if you have a spare 30 minutes, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's like it works really well as like a single digestible thing. I do want to shout out that my favorite song is 1P747 Chopped. That song was fucking stupid. That melody and that like stuttery breakbeat together are nuts, and the production is like the mixing, actually not the production, the mixing is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to spring that one on my D&D players for something.
They're going to be like, what the fuck is approaching us right now that is accompanied by this song?
I don't even know what it's going to be yet, but goddamn, I'll make something.
The universal void opens and a glitch monster comes out.
Yeah, there you go. That's the kind of thing that I would do in my D&D campaign. Like my shit is bonkers. I do, before we move on, also want to give quick shout outs to Master Builder 1999, which is kind of the biggest switch up on the album for the closer, which I appreciate that he saved it for the closer, because I think it really would have broken the immersion if this was somewhere else in the track list. It's like, it's really like smoky and shifting as it's like doing the glitch thing. Like it's quieter, but still in your face about it. It's weird. It's like you can see it, but you don't know what it is. Dare I say it's a little IDM?
Our favorite genre name.
I hate that, but it's a little bit that.
Yeah.
And I also really liked Spencer Hawk's Pro Existential Crisis,
Yeah,
just for
rocks.
the title, because that's such a fucking good title. That's the funniest thing you could possibly name a song. He's the only person in the world who's allowed to name a song that.
Yeah. I appreciate on his behalf that we went through this album without mentioning who his father is.
Yeah.
No nepotism on this podcast.
No, we don't believe in industry plants on this podcast.
No, we don't. If you make good music, you make good music.
Yes. I guess my closing thoughts are that I don't know how much of a straight up improvement on None or even Food House this is. If you haven't heard Food House, go listen to Food House. That is the most bonkers shit, craziest ass hyperpop breakbeat EDM fusion of the last I don't know how much longer. That stuff is like my brain is now scrambled eggs. Yeah, I don't know how much of an improvement it is, either those, but it is definitely like showing that he can maintain a consistent level of quality, which like this album does one trick, but it does it really well and doesn't overstay its welcome. And yeah, I mean, that's all I can really ask for. It's great. I really enjoyed this.
I agree. All right. Our next album is going to be SZA with SOS.
Just want you. If I can't have you, no one will. I might kill my ex, not the best idea. His new girlfriend's next, how'd I get here? I might kill.
I'd like to give myself kudos for not saying SZA.
you learned so good.
I did learn. I will put it this way to set the tone. I opened my notes with SZA, I do not like you. So
with SZA, I don't like you, or SZA, I do like you?
Do not.
Okay.
I've always had a gripe with SZA, which is that I really hate the way she sings. I think she has a pretty voice, but she does this like kind of lilting up and down kind of singing.
Yeah.
Where she's always hopping notes that really makes me feel like, you were talking about earlier, that Queens of the Stone Age song making you feel motion sick. She makes me feel like I'm on a plane, there's turbulence. Like it's just bouncing around way too much.
Perhaps you're like floating on your back in the ocean.
And I need an SOS. I'm putting out an SOS. Yeah.
Yes. Send it out an SOS.
SOS. Don't bring up a better song. I don't care for her work in general, though, also because I think that her production is pretty flat and grating to me. And even the song that I thought had the prettiest production, which was Good Days, I believe. Her singing on that, the up and down was so prevalent that I was just getting annoyed. So like she kind of can't win for me. So when I learned that this would be 23 songs long, my thought was like, there's no way that it needs to be that long. And I feel vindicated.
Yeah, this did not need to be 23 tracks long. Can I say some nice things about this album before we both go off the deep end with this one? Because I think we both have some big plates of beef with this thing.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so I would like to compliment just a few songs. I think SOS is a really strong opener. I really like the unconventional and weird dynamics of this song. I like the way it's produced, like it's through a film grain. She sounds really filtered and far away, and I just like her performance here. I thought Kill Bill was a really good song. I think it has this really the beat is really fun because it starts really like synthy and bleepy and melodic, and then it changes to being really organic guitar and live drumming. And like
Mhm.
you don't even notice. Like it took me until the end of the song when like like her vocals are done and it's just the beat that I was like, wait, wasn't this song like really digital at the start of it? And it makes the transition like really smoothly. Um Funny hook too, where she's talking about like I'm gonna murder my ex, but she's like singing
Yeah.
all sweetly. Like it could have come across very Melody Martinez, but it doesn't. She's funny. Um, I like Notice Me. I thought the way the beat built to the climax is really good, and when she actually locked into a solid melody, I thought that it was a really well written song. Um, yeah, she's charismatic, sincere, beats pretty good. Um, and then I liked Smoking on My X Pack, which is the song where she raps. And I really appreciated that like speedily delivered thing she does in the context of her rapping rather than singing. And I thought the clear division between her rap voice and her singing voice helped her out a lot. And then Ghost in the Machine was okay. It sounds like it could have been on Punisher, so I'm fine with that. And then Too Late has the best beat and mixing on the album. It has like
Mhm.
well applied sections of like that vocal improv type thing that she does, and then a really strong focused hook, which like
Yeah.
anchors the whole thing for me. Yeah, for this song, Too Late was so weird because it's really noticeable how much more well mixed the song was than the rest of the album for me. Like,
Yeah.
not that the mixing was like bad or distracting anywhere else, but it like this just feels so much richer than a lot of the rest of the songs that I just wondered like what was happening. Also, Still Woozy is credited as a co-writer on that song. I don't know if it's a sample or if he wrote it, but weird.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have less songs to compliment, but I will put out that I thought that the best few songs were Kill Bill, Blind, and Too Late.
Mhm.
All because I thought that they committed to the bit they were doing
Yeah.
enough to be impactful. Versus, I'll sashay into my first complaint, the one that I noticed the
Picturing you
most about
sashaying and
this
it's really
album.
good.
Yeah, thank you. I think I could do it. Um, this album does not know what it wants to be. Does it want to be beat driven? Does it want to be acoustic? In one really weird spot, there's like an Avril Lavigne pop rock song.
Sure is, isn't there?
It's just bizarre. When that came on, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, what is happening right now? Um, but yeah, like it's just so weird. And I've seen the thing that I've been weirded out with this album is I've just seen people sucking its dick to high heaven.
Non-stop.
And the biggest one that I've seen is like, oh, it goes the distance. Like, it really stretches itself. And I'm like, that's just called being disjointed. It stretches itself so hard that, like, the limbs are separated from the body, you know?
Yeah.
I just did not, I didn't appreciate that diversity because it didn't feel like diversity. It felt like anonymity
It
almost.
felt like vault clearing to me, truthfully,
Yeah.
because I think the like unity that a lot of people are talking about on this album was topical because she is really like that was my biggest beef with this album is because it is 23 songs, is a
Mm-hmm.
fucking hour long, is longer than an
Mm-hmm.
hour, and the entire fucking time she is talking about either her partner cheated on her, she's having
Mm-hmm.
sex so good that it made her forgive her partner for the bad things that he's done,
Mm-hmm.
and not needing a partner anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's like I've covered the 3 topics, dude, like, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
that's not I don't even think that counts as topical focus because these are topical things that she has been talking about since the beginning of her career, that so many artists have been talking about since the beginning of her career. Like, she's not putting any, like, fascinating spin on them or anything. Like, there's always going to be angles to take on those things, but it's just like the same lyrical conceits for the entire goddamn hour-long length, even
Yep.
on the songs that are like the fucking Avril Lavigne, Willow Smith ass rock song. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's so weird. Like, this is easily one of the best received albums of the year, and like usually when we cover stuff that is like this like universally well received, I at least get it. But on this one, like I just don't. And I feel kind
Yeah.
of bad because I will be the first person to admit that R&B is not a genre that I grew up with, and not a genre that I like have like a huge giant vocabulary in. And I thought
Mhm.
that when I was like halfway through this and not really liking it that much, that it might be my like lack of genre experience. But like I think back on it and like I liked Ari Lennox's album from this year. Like I love the shit out of everything Jasmine Sullivan has ever done. I love Janae Aiko.
And
And
that Leon LaHavis album?
Leon the Hobbit, that's different. I don't think you can compare that one to this record too much.
I think it is R&B though, but
No, it is, but like it's different. It's like contemporary R&B versus like kind of throwback R&B, I
oh yeah,
think.
I see. I see.
And this is very like this songs from this are on the radio right now. Like this is what people are listening to. And like I don't know, man. I sounded like Marge Simpson on that for a second. What the fuck?
I don't know,
I
homie.
don't know, homie.
Yeah, no, I don't get it either.
So here's my grand take on this album, because I
Mhm.
think this might explode your head a little bit. Are you ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for
Oh.
this one.
Uh-oh.
I think the thing that I don't like about this SZA album is the same thing that I don't like about King Crimson.
I was physically holding my head to help it from exploding, and I took my palms off and shook my head like I had just been slapped.
Your like brains are painted over the wall behind you.
Yeah, like I like physically recoiled. What?
So the more I listened to this, because you're right, her vocal style definitely is not for me. And the more I listened to it, the more I realized that her vocal style is basically 100% riffing. A lot of what I assume is her appeal is her ability to like
Just
improvise
do
and
runs.
flourish and embellish everything. And the
Mhm.
way she delivers these lyrics feels very loose and very very melodically loose. Like it's not beholden to like a written melody much if at all.
Mhm.
And even her hooks are really like long-winded and kind of ambivalent to like how catchy they are.
Mhm.
And it's technical spectacle over songwriting.
Yeah, no, I
It
agree.
comes back to that. Like this is like I get it. It's fine. I understand why people like it, I guess, but it's just so not for me. And like coupled with like the fact that it is all about her technical vocal ability and like her runs, and the fact that it's just the same song topics over and over again that she's singing about, it just doesn't give me anything to hang on to at all. The
Yeah.
lyrics on this are occasionally off also like shit tier
Mhm.
similes and metaphors. Um,
Some of them I was like looking at because I was on a walk when I was reading this, so I could really like look at the lyrics for a while.
yeah.
And I think I was probably just making a shocked expression with my mouth closed the whole time.
What
Like, what the fuck is happening?
what was the line on Conceited about minions?
Oh God, I don't remember. I think I've already kind of wiped a lot of the experience of this album from my
She
head.
says, all these bitches is all these bitches is minions, despicable like. Dude,
Bro, come
Pitchfork Best New Music
on.
8.8. Guys,
The needle
what?
drop strong 8.
This is like this is bad. Like this is bad. Uh
Yeah.
there's a part where on I Hate You where she's like, I thought that you was solid. I thought that you was solid till you scrambled me. And I literally heard it as used to be your salad till you scrambled me, like comparing herself to an egg, like egg
Yeah.
salad versus scrambled eggs. And like that isn't what she said. That is not, I'm not saying that's what she said. It isn't.
Yeah.
But I was just willing to believe that. Like
Yeah, no, that sounds like a SZA line.
I had to believe that. There was the Nobody Gets Me, which that song sucks fucking ass. It is like
Yeah.
it sounds like Taylor Swift, but like bad. And like it's trying to not even that I like Taylor Swift, but like it's just not good. And it's trying to be like all sweet and romantic, but would you like me to read the whole first verse for you?
Mhm.
Took a long vacation, no makeup, just Jay-Z. You were balls deep. Now we beefing. Had me
Mhm.
butt naked at the MGM, so wasted, screaming, fuck that. Blurry now, but I meant it then. Hurry now, baby, stick it in. For the memories get to kicking in. It's too late, I don't want to lose. It's challenging because it's like
That's icky.
I guess I get the sentiment, but like you using phrases like balls deep, butt naked, stick it in is just
Ugh.
so like gross. Like it
This is
doesn't.
giving me the same like visceral disgust as Stromae talking about poop and pee and
Yeah,
diapers.
like it's not sexy. It's not
No.
like slick. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's not there. Like it isn't
It's not
there.
there at all.
I
would like to talk about the beats for a second.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that this album does do to like unify itself is it has some of the flattest mixing and dynamics I've heard in a while. It comes off so stale and undemanding that it ends up needing even more of my attention, to try and like surmise at all what it's trying to tell me. Like when it is beat driven, like it's especially bad. Like these beats sound like public domain or like some shit she pulled off a production channel with like 1.2K subscribers on YouTube.
It's really
like,
weird.
Completely anonymous and unbecoming for somebody who has this much of a budget, A, and B, somebody who hasn't dropped in 5 years. You could do better.
I think the idea with like making, and this happens in R&B a lot, when like you have a vocalist that is like just a absolute fucking stunner. Like sometimes you do pull the instrumental back and let them carry it, but like the thing she's carrying it with doesn't do it for me. I don't like it just doesn't work. Like if the beat isn't there, then I just have absolutely nothing to grab onto.
And also the issue with having it be like beat driven there and pulling back the instrumental is that not only are you listening more to the way that she's singing, which is fine if you like her delivery, you're also listening to what she's saying, which is a problem when she says the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again
for an hour.
So really any way that you swing it, I feel like it's not just a personal gripe with her singing style that we're hearing. It's also just a failing on, I think, the two technical ends of this album being the production and the lyrics. They just do not support each other whatsoever.
I think it's also super weird that there's so many songs on here that are so topically the same and the beats sound the same. And she's just locked into that place, and then we'll just fucking throw things in like the Taylor Swift song or the Willow Smith song that just like totally break any kind of focus or immersion I was getting into. Like it makes me like, by taking me out of the place that you are in and then bringing me back into it, you just repeatedly draw attention to the repetitiveness of that sound, like because you throw something in that breaks it up. Like
Definitely.
I could maybe like get in lockstep with it if it was unified for a long period of time, but like you can't let me sit with it too long, and you just have to like blow my brains out with something unexpected. And it just like draws my attention back to how much more boring the boring shit is.
Yeah. And I'd like to give a couple theories on why this is so long.
Okay.
First one being this is something that has extended to the whole year, and a gripe that I will probably talk about in our year-end recap is that I think that people got really sentimentally attached to some songs that they made during quarantine because they like helped them through, but they're not very good songs. But they refuse to take them off of things because they're like, no, this means a lot to me. I think this might be one of those cases. And also, I feel like this album compensates for like the lack of ideas that it has by funneling and segregating every single musical impulse onto a separate track. None of the ideas mingle. I feel like it's trying to pad itself out by being like, okay, I don't have enough to develop on like a rap rock track. So instead, I'm just going to have a mediocre rap song and a mediocre rock song.
That is
now
really
I have two songs.
Good point that I didn't even think about. That is really that's really odd. I totally think you could have condensed some of these tracks. God, no, you're so right. That's man.
And another thing with that is how weird this might be a me thing because I don't like the majority of people on this, but is it just me feeling like these features are bizarre?
It is an interesting selection of people that I think she could work well with on an album that's not this.
I don't even know because I feel like she misuses them in weird ways. Don Toliver's fine. He's doing his thing, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't fucking care.
Don Toliver does one thing. He would do this on any song, and he does fine.
Yeah. But the reason why, first of all, I don't get Phoebe Bridgers, but I think that her presence on this song is really weird because the entire beat has to alter itself to
Yeah.
make room for her.
Yeah, she's
There
only
is
there for
no
like 2
tying
seconds
in of
also.
it. Exactly. There's no tying in of her. None of her melodies or anything are like harmonizing at the beginning of the song. She's literally just at the back, and the song has to become acoustic for her. And it was not acoustic in any way before that.
Yeah.
Which is so strange. And then Travis Scott's like, I was laughing out loud at his verse.
He's on here twice. He's at the beginning somewhere, just like doing ad libs, which is really funny. It's like foreshadowing. Like he's like appearing out of the woods, like I'm back.
Yeah, he's like a will-o'-the-wisp leading you through the album to his shitty verse. But yeah, he's so limp, and like he's not even really rapping a lot of this. He's just singing it, and the fact that she put him on an acoustic beat is crazy. Of all people you put on this album, you're like, yeah, Travis Scott is the acoustic guy for sure. What the fuck are you thinking? Yeah, and also I hate ad-libs, so hearing him earlier, I was like, oh god.
I will say, Travis Scott does have some of the best ad-libs in the game. I know you're not the ad-libs person, but I don't think I ever get sick of him hearing him go straight up or whatever. Like it's
or like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it has like the echo at the end.
He like goes into an alternate dimension. It's so good. Yeah, I don't know. It is pretty funny. I haven't. It's weird. It's almost weird hearing his voice again because it has been a really long time. He has been laying low.
Yeah.
I cannot blame the man for laying low. Although
we haven't forgotten about Astroworld, baby.
No, but I'm also fine with him coming back now. Like I'm over it. It's whatever. Well, I'm not over it, but like I think he doesn't have to. Like,
you're like, whatever.
he can come out of the shadows now. But I think it's weird that the fact that he took like 2 years off, 2 years about,
something like that, yeah.
Something like that. It has almost kind of dated him. Like,
yeah, no, I see that
because
he feels anachronistic.
Yeah, Astroworld was so big. Like that album was like a year defining for the year that it came out in, and deservedly so. I think it's a great record, but like that sound is so like was new and really exciting in 2018, and he is so tightly associated with it that hearing his voice on like a SZA album in 2022 that sounds like it should be out, like this is a very current album. Like it almost feels like he I just made this connection now, but having him and ODB on back-to-back tracks is really funny because ODB is dead and I haven't heard Travis Scott in a year and a half, so it seems like him coming back from the dead. Like it's almost
sounds like a vault verse.
Yeah, it's like even if it's not, it's like, oh, like this is like paying respect to Travis Scott who sadly passed away in 2018.
Dude. Yeah, even at the end of the album, like when I've heard that feature, I was like, oh, so we're not integrating this at all. Like the ODB one. Now. Yeah, I was like, I feel like this isn't the way to honor him. Like,
yeah,
you could have used this in a different way. Instead, you just tacked it onto a shitty song.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I will always mouth off about how much I hate adding posthumous verses to things.
This isn't a new verse or anything. I thought
I know.
She somehow got like a vault verse from Old Dirty Bastard, and I was like, how the fuck did that happen? Yeah. But no, it's just like the sample.
Yeah, but even then, it irks me because, I don't know, I always feel like if you're adding a posthumous part, you should integrate it enough to where it feels natural in the song, so it's an actual homage. Or if you're using, in the case of like, not to divert, but in the case of like X or Mac Miller or anything like that, where people might take a verse and like just tack it onto a song that was in the vault, that pisses me off beyond anything else. I hate it so much. I'm like, use an up and comer who needs the exposure, not somebody whose estate is just going to get the royalties. Yeah.
This is like, because I think there's also the difference between an artist who died recently and an artist who died like 30 years ago or whatever. And like, I don't fucking know how long ODB's been dead for.
I
It's
think
been a
2004.
while.
I looked it up.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's been a minute. So it's like, it's weird because paying homage to someone who died last year is very different than paying homage to someone who died now almost 20 years ago. And like, ODB is a legend, and the way that he's a legend, and he will be a legend forever. Like, his relevance will never fade. And to put like an homage to him at the end of this just feels almost like, okay, yeah, and like, yeah, I know Old Dirty Bastard is cool. What do you have anything to say about that? Like, people have been tributing this guy in various ways. Like, fucking last year, Tyler did the Passport album cover. Like, it's always, people are always going to be tributing him for as long as hip hop is still like in the form that we know it. And like, I don't know, like, you have to have something, some new way to do it, and she doesn't. Yeah, this is a frustrating one. This is one that, like, it makes me mad to see getting so much critical praise, because I just really don't know if we listen to the same album.
I keep waiting for somebody to, like, who's in a critical space to not necessarily validate my opinion or anything, but to just, like, concur with me so I don't feel crazy. Because
yeah, just confirm that I'm not insane.
I went back and I listened to bits of this as I was writing my notes, and I was like, no, I'm right. Like, yeah, I'm hearing this. Yeah. And like, it's not like I have hi-fi audio, like I'm listening. So I just don't understand the praise. I don't know.
Always feel bad when we're like contrarians to something that's really popular and well received.
Yeah.
Like, because I can always accept that I just don't get it. Like, that's sometimes that happens. Like, sometimes something doesn't click with me and I will never get it. But this one, this is one that I just think the critics are wrong on. Like, I just don't know.
Frankly, yes. The only people that I've heard also criticize it are my peers. Like, some people I put, like, I don't know if you know this, Instagram has like a fucking Twitter feature now.
What?
Yeah, where in your DMs you can put like a note, and it will come at the top of your DMs and everybody can put it there. You can only have 60 characters. It's really annoying.
That's weird.
But I just put the Little Simz album sucks, and like 4 people respond and were like, thank God you think this. So
you mean the SZA album?
Sorry, what did I say?
Little Simz.
Oh, sorry.
I thought you did like a social experiment here where you like put different albums and like saw how many people responded that they were like, oh, thank you for saying this.
No, SZA, my bad. I was looking at Simz on the list.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I feel especially bad with this one because SZA is very like, I like her just like as a public figure and as an artist. I like have a lot of respect for her. I think she's been dicked around a lot, and I want to see her succeed, and I want to like hear music from her that I like, and I just don't like it. I just don't like it. My personal theory about why this is so long is because I think it straight up is a vault clearing. Like,
yeah, I
they
definitely see that too.
They didn't let her drop music for 5 years. She had a bunch of public label struggles with TDE. I think she's got to get the fuck off of there, and maybe then when she releases something, it will be a little more focused.
Hopefully. Do your best, SZA.
Do your best.
We hear your SOS.
Yep.
All right. Next album is going to be the Foreshadowed. Little Simz with No Thank You.
Cutting through the jungle in an all black fitted hat, low, incognito living. Introvert, but she ain't timid. My art will be timeless. I don't do limits. No. Be very specific when you talk on who the best is. How can I address this? Basically, the rest is almost like to me what a stain to a best.
Well, the title of the album is No Thank You, but I say yes, please. I'll take my pitchfork paycheck, please.
I don't think that Little Simz misses. really.
Yeah, she really doesn't. I don't think this is one of her stronger projects, and there's like one track that I skipped.
Yeah, she rocks. I think that I'm seeing this compared a lot to Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, which is definitely fair. I think that they're definitely related in terms of like sound
Yeah.
and term like topics. But
Yeah.
I do feel like this one is in some spots a little less autobiographical. Like some of these are very like story driven or sort of for the listener, which I think is really interesting to hear in tandem with some of the, because she's talking a lot about struggle on this one, and a lot about like her personal identity kind of things, and then she is also uplifting the listener's identity.
It's definitely not as celebratory as Simbi was at all.
No, no, no. So I feel like she even talks about it that she had success with Simbi, and then she started to feel sort of the dregs of that success.
hmm
And I think that she does it in such a way that feels so honest.
Yeah.
They're pretty angry in their sentiment, but she utilizes the instrumentation and her flow, and like in some spots like Cleo Soul is like a great addition to a lot of these parts of the
Yeah.
album. But she brings it to like an ethereal place rather than letting it stew in like bitterness.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I think I would take as like a holier than thou, like, look, I'm above the beef kind of thing.
But
But
her,
with
her
her,
persona just isn't that, and never.
yeah,
I just don't believe that she's like that.
no, she's so real. And the way that she's saying all of this is very much not just like, I'm the bitch, you suck. It's like, I'm sad that you're this way. I wish
Yeah.
that we could get along. And I really feel that.
It's like I'm above this, but at the same time, like I kind of wish you weren't, you know?
Yeah, I think that this is really clear on like the track Angel, the opener.
Yes.
It's a great tone setter for that.
I love the strings on this song, like,
Mm.
so fucking much.
Yeah.
Holy shit. We're gonna be talking a lot about Simz, but shout out to Inflow. Like, before
Dude.
we get into that, man really brought it on this record, like, even more
Yeah.
so than I think he did on Simbi.
Inflow knows how to build a song like nobody else. Like,
Yes.
just the payoffs are remarkable.
I love on Angel the way that she says, this is just a little thing, but I love the way that she says, "Get G checked for your disrespect." I don't know, like, so that line just, I like it.
Dude,
Like,
I
it
love
makes my
her.
brain very happy.
Her flows are so good. I just love her. This to me feels like a real development on sort of the sound of certain songs on Simbi.
Yeah.
Like the one that really came to mind was I Love You, I Hate You. Because it does have the more kind of bare hip hoppy beat at the beginning, and then it builds on it and gets those like choral notes and the strings as she learns to forgive kind of thing. So I really did feel like that foreshadowed this song or this album, which is great because I love that track.
I definitely got that off Silhouette as well, because that one really sounded like an alternate universe version of Woman to me.
Definitely.
And Woman was one of my fucking favorite songs of last year. That song is unfucking real.
So
And
good. Shout out Cleo Soul again.
yeah, 2 for 2. I mean, she's on this album more than twice, but I mean, just
Yeah.
like in terms of her highlight tracks, like
Mhm.
Woman and this are like, dude, you are somewhere else. Yeah, just the drumming on this song and the way that she is like effortlessly getting into the crevices of it, like every time she's on the verse is
Yeah.
crazy. This song's so good.
Yeah.
We skipped Gorilla, but I
Gorilla
cannot
goes
skip
nuts.
Gorilla. That is the dirtiest beat Lil Simz has ever rapped on.
Yeah.
And I think people kind of have like a perception of her as like a quote intellectual rapper. And I'm like side-eyeing that now in the same way that like Koreatown Oddity does in like the
Yeah.
British skits on his thing. This beat is fucking grimy. Holy shit. She sounds like, you know who her delivery on this reminded me of?
Who?
Andre 3000, because it is like the beat is so funky and like low, laid back, like bass and drum, and that's it. And she is on this one leaning into her accent in a way that Andre 3000 also does all the time, like a different accent, obviously, but like both of them lean into like the more I don't want to say like esoteric, but like distinctive. That's a good word.
Mhm.
The more distinctive parts of their individual accents to
Yeah.
like slant rhymes, like in a way that wouldn't really work for anyone else. And it makes the song just so individual and so full of personality. Um, that bass is horny. That bass is horny.
Oh my god, it reminded me, a little bit of, like, if you cranked what's the song? See No Evil
Yeah.
from, I Sometimes Might Be
Yeah,
Introvert
I could
up
see
to,
that.
like, 20.
Yeah.
Like, is the really, like, intense accent kind of push, and also the heavy drums and stuff like that. I definitely hear that.
The way the horns like crash in on this song also really
Oh,
reminds me of the way they do on is the song just called Introvert, the really big long
yeah.
one? Yeah,
Yeah.
so the way they do on Introvert, except on that song, the entire thing is like grand and epic and cinematic. And on this one, it's like this low-key dirty beat that suddenly just gets destroyed by like giant brass. I
Yeah.
love that contrast effect so much, and it
So
fits with what she's
much.
saying so well.
And it's so well produced that it doesn't feel really jarring in, like, a
Yeah.
gross way. It feels impactful and punchy.
Yeah.
And I remember when I listened to that, I literally, like, hard blinked and, like, backed up a little bit. I was like, "Jesus," but it's so
I
good.
I made physical sounds when so like it starts with that huge God, I'm having such like a vivid sense memory.
Yeah.
Like I was driving home from like an hour away, and that like brass hit at the start of the song was so loud I like blinked. I was like, "Holy shit." And then
Yeah.
it immediately kicks into that bass groove, and I think I literally might have gone like, "Ooh!" Like it was so unexpected and so well executed that I was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, man." Um, I maybe shouldn't have blown my load this early, but this is my favorite track. This
Woo!
song's so good.
Yeah. I think that even as it goes on, like, simpler beats, like on Sideways,
Mhm.
I think that those also have a lot of impact, and, like, in the scope of the album, I think they hold their own. Also on this
Sideways
album,
Oh, I was just
like,
gonna say Sideways is my one skip. It's,
I think that that makes sense for a lot of people, it probably would be.
I
But
didn't like I thought it was a little jarring.
I like her on sparse tracks, I don't know. Um, there is nothing but bar after bar on this album,
Oh my
and
god,
she
yeah.
says a lot. Like, none of these, like, uplifting, empowered sections feel like platitudes either, because she's not shying away from criticism either. Like, her flow is so, like, full of conviction and power,
Yeah.
but, like, it's still constructive in that boldness.
You remember what we said about, Wise Blood feeling it's a very lived in sort of optimism?
Yeah,
I got the same thing from this. It feels very
definitely.
like so it's optimistic, but it's optimistic because Simbi was celebratory, but it was also very, like, cautionary and at times, like, mad, and
Mhm,
this album kind of feels like, "Okay, I've thrown the tantrum, now I've, like, collected myself and am staring the problem straight in the face," you know?
mhm.
Like, it is and I don't say tantrum like she's, like, being a baby or whatever, it's emotionally mature to a fault, like,
Yeah.
this is a certified adult album. Um, but yeah, it's like, okay, I've gotten the raw emotion out of my system, and I am now, like, looking at everything that is happening to me straight in the face and able to be clear-headed about it, which is, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it is a really good sentiment, and she is, like it feels, like, so earnest and lived in. It's really
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, I do also wanna talk about the track "Broken."
Yes.
Um, I think that the, like, ethereal nature of this, like, look at negativity, I guess,
Yeah.
is no clearer in focus than on "Broken," which is
You're talking
it
about storytelling. This you will not holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, this is the, like, emotional head of the album, and she discusses, like, various stories across it of, like, poverty, addiction, inequity, but it's over this beautiful instrumental that swells to this chorus as she, like, reinforces that it's okay to be broken, but you have to strive towards a plan. Like, even as someone non-religious and who has, frankly, religious trauma, the way she uses God and the sentiment of a plan in her songs is
Mhm.
so tactful and full of heart that it's kind of impossible to not feel the gravity of her faith, even if I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I want to quote some of these lines.
Please do.
Because they actually made me kind of emotional.
Yeah, no, totally. This thing is like, it's so rooted, like her spirituality seems so rooted in earnest self-love as the core of it that like, even if like, yeah, like obviously obviously people don't know anything about me, but like I'm an atheist as well. And it's like, I just like I earnestly understand and believe that this is like the correct thing for her as a person. Like it's just
Definitely.
so honest and truthful.
Yeah. So on the song, she says, "Look how far you've come and see you've only just started. You exist, you're alive, you are deserving of life. You are a beacon of light, you are determined to fly. You have a journal inside, you have the power to write. You have the opportunity every day to decide. Choose love. It might just blossom into a new love. But whatever happens, just know that you've won." I
I
love
love
that sentiment.
I love the way that sentiment goes right into the chorus of like feeling you're broken and don't exist and being okay to feel
Yeah.
that, because like those two states of mind can coexist and often do coexist. Like
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. It's just so ugh, it's making me like feel things. Man, this album is good.
It's really good. On a pure sound level, this song is also like breathtaking.
Oh my
The
god.
the sheer progression of it is like it is stunning. The children's choir on the hook is unbelievable, and the way that
Mhm.
like chord progression that they create, like it's the same melody for the whole time, but like depending on what she's talking about, that melody can take on like being foreboding or being reassuring or being like calming or being like scary almost. And it's like, I don't know, it just speaks to her talent as a like lyricist and a vocalist that she's writing one melody the whole time for 6 minutes, and just on the power of her words she can bend what emotion that same melody is giving you. Like it is
Yeah.
so well executed.
Yeah. And let it be known this is actually a 7.5 minute song.
Oh shit, damn.
And I think it should also be said that the two longest songs on the album, Silhouette and Broken, are two of the ones that we're lauding the most. She is a master at extending a song's length and not losing any of the gravity of it.
Having the like justifying having a
Yeah.
song that long, like
Oh
it
yeah.
passes in the blink of an eye. It doesn't feel like an 8-minute song.
Yeah, and you guys even know me from what I was saying earlier in this podcast that I am not one for really long rap songs or
Yeah.
R&B in that for that matter. Like I need brevity most of the time. But these songs are I had a hard time like keeping notes as I was writing for this album because I just was sitting back and bathing in these songs. And it takes a really special kind of production and rapper team to get me in that space.
Yeah, you can't you almost you really can't have this song or Silhouette or Introvert without that scale. Like
Mhm.
the idea and concept of the song doesn't work. You couldn't fit it in 2.5 minutes. Like
Yeah.
she's really one of the only people out there who understands like when a song idea requires brevity and when it requires length. Like just that
Mhm.
judgment.
I'm already excited to see what she does next. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
like this is a fucking like tiding you over project.
Yeah.
Like
And
this
here
is
we
like
are.
I'm sure some leftovers from Simbi. Like, and I don't fucking care. Like it's just
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. No, she can do no wrong, I think.
This album is also proof that online music publications should not put out their best of you lists until the actual end of the year.
Mhm.
Fuck y'all. Just wait a month.
Yeah.
Like it's New Year's.
Don't try and be
Everyone
the
loves New
first
Year's.
person.
You're going to miss something. It
Yeah.
happens every year.
So silly. All right. Our next album is going to be Brakence with Hypochondriac.
Don't even ask me. 3 chords and she all over me nasty. She got me smothered, got me bugging last week. Leave a scar on my soul, cause it's smarter to fold. I take it better when she don't even ask me. My corpse is spilling blood in the backseat.
Ooh boy, what a record.
What a record. What an hour. What a way to spend an hour.
Yeah, what a way to spend an hour.
Yeah, I also listened to this album while I was walking, and it gave me much to think about. Um, to start off, like to give people like a general idea of the sound, I guess. Um, I I would say that this album is definitely good hyperpop for people who don't like hyperpop.
Yeah.
The tempos and sounds aren't particularly jarring on something like you might get on a Gecs album. Um, and on songs like Buggin', he uses a lot of really sweet and soft sounds. Not to say that that can't be hyperpop because it is, but it's definitely feeding more into the pop than the hyper.
It is
Um,
it is
and it
interesting. I sorry,
you good.
tangent. I like the way that he does play with pacing on this album because
Hmm.
hyperpop very much is in that hyperactive lane all the time for the most
Hmm.
part. This is really one of the first releases I've heard in the genre, like playing with space and tempo in that way. I don't know. Sorry, I just completely interrupted.
No, you're good. But there are also a lot of spots on here where he leans into like Midwest emo tendencies.
Yeah.
Like I definitely noticed it even on on the first track on
Yeah,
Bugging.
bugging.
I was like, hello, what? And then the chorus on Intellectual Greed is just straight up a Midwest emo song with some
Yeah.
synth. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then I read about it on Genius, and he apparently labeled this album genre as cursed country, so that was definitely intentional.
He does like he does like the Midwest emo lick like
Yeah.
100 million times on this
Yeah.
album. It's really funny.
To the point where I got to the end and I was like, again?
Yeah, like I dig it, but it is really funny that it's like the lick.
Yeah. He listened to Never Meant once, and that's it. Yeah, if you like, I will say if you like Midwest emo, you probably will not like this album. But if you like hyperpop and you like guitar work, you will. Like, I just don't feel like someone who's really big into American football would sit down with this album and be like, wow, this really bangs.
That's me. That person you're talking about is me.
But you also already like hyperpop.
Yeah, but I also love American football. That's me.
I do
also
too.
I also have a music podcast, so I'm probably not the
You are not,
the target
you're not
audience.
yeah. In the beginning when I was listening, I was excited for like more intense like synth glitch based songs like Caffeine, which is like really intense.
Yeah.
But I was not treated to this very often.
Uh-huh.
The most notable other example was probably the back half of Preparation Exercise 7.
Yes.
But that song does not feel elaborated on fully to me.
That was also my big least favorite of this album.
Yeah,
It's kind of bad.
so I was like, we got one good example and one bad example. I kind of wish that we got more of that and less Midwest emo.
Have you heard his previous album?
I didn't know who this was before like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's just like a guy.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty big in like the kids who listen to hyperpop scene.
Mm.
His last album's called Punk 2. I think it's more of like a mixtape. I think this is like his proper debut album.
Mm.
And that definitely has more of that like distorted sound that you might be looking for. I am still like poking you to go listen to Underscores because I think everything you're saying here is like
I know
you would
I'll
like
Underscores.
I
know I will.
I know it's just
I'll add it to my library
man.
again right now. I'll delete it and re-add it.
And now it's already funny that we're like 3 minutes into the Brakence
and you're already bringing up Underscores.
Already bringing up Underscores. They are not the same. They aren't.
Sophie
I'm not
trademark.
saying I'm not comparing them, but I just think Underscores is like so ahead of the game in hyperpop right now that like everyone else is trying to catch up. But this is going in like a different direction. It's not the same.
Yeah, definitely. This is like radio hyperpop, I think. Not in a derogatory way or anything.
Yeah,
but
no,
like, it's
not
definitely
derogatory at
digestible.
all. I think that this is a big improvement over Punk 2, and I think that it's impressive to see a hyperpop musician like actually like because he's on a label, like a pretty big label now, which that
What's he
has
on?
not. I have to look. Let me see. It might even be like one of the like huge like UMG or something.
Columbia, yeah.
Yeah, he's on Columbia. He's actually like got on a big label, and it is interesting hearing like what a quote quote major label hyperpop album sounds like, and I like it. Like I'm kind of surprised that I like it. I don't know if he was maybe the right like guy to be the standard bearer in that way, because the big drawback for I think both you and me on this album is that he is his lyrics are so bad.
They're really bad.
They're really bad. And I am like a huge sound over lyrics person, and
They
definitely
are
will be.
distracting.
Yeah, I'll be returning this album a lot. Like I really liked it, and will definitely go back to it a lot. But sometimes he says some shit on this album that is so inexcusable that I like have to stop and like really let it roll off of my back. What? God damn! I
I
really
have an
didn't.
example.
Please, yeah, because I didn't write down enough of them, but like I was texting you as I was listening to this, like, oh my god.
Yeah. The album the lyrics on the first 10 songs, not to like foreshadow the last three, but they make him sound like a huge douche.
He sounds like such a
Well,
dick.
he's
It's so
he
funny.
just talks about how he fucks real good, and like the girls keep coming back to him, 3 chords and she all over me nasty.
3 chords and she all over me nasty. That is my Discord status right now.
And it
I'm
has been for like
obsessed.
5 days.
I am obsessed with 3 chords and she all over me nasty.
It's a
So-
funny lyric. One of his
okay.
only good ones, I think.
Yeah, I will give him that one, but like that one wins because he sells it, and so often he just says something like so out of pocket, just like in the middle of a line. Like, wait, what the fuck did you just say?
The one that really fucked me up was, I don't know, this isn't the worst one on the album, but it was the one that like I was reading the lyrics and I was like, wow, dog. On the song 5G, which is such like a Luddite anthem.
Yeah.
He sorry. He says they're laying waste to a new biome to make a case for the new iPhone.
I'm looking at Caffeine, which was the one that really got to me. And he says, like, a bad bitch with the messy hair. I'm going to give away excess cash. Greed'll fucking haunt you.
Yeah.
If I fuck with your shit, you better take it personal. I'm murdering any beat you send me because I'm versatile. But if I ain't like your shit, then you won't get a verse at all.
Oh my god. These are like coffee pot bars.
It's
like
so like, oh, he says, I'm really like, bitch, I'm seeing the truth in my circle, just like it's alchemy. Like, it's like these are just like bad lines, but
Oh
there's
my
so many
God.
places on this album where he just comes across as a total douche. Like he
Yeah.
is, and I say this is like the pot calling the kettle white here. He is so white. Like
Yeah.
he's so white. Why you want to link? I'd rather finger fuck strings. Like he's saying like I don't want to hang out with you. I'd rather stay home and play music. But don't say that. Just don't say that.
It's giving the same visceral, like unsexy reaction as the SZA lines.
It just why do you say that?
It's so
Why do you have to
fucking-
say these things?
I actually would like to pivot this conversation towards the last 3 songs on the album.
Okay.
Because I, like, as a disclaimer, I would not normally expect great lyricism from hyperpop inherently. Like,
Yeah.
this is not a lyric-focused genre by any
And
means.
when it is, it's funny. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I
Like,
love 100 gecs lyrics, but they really do talk about give me all those fucking Doritos and Fritos.
yeah, like, spoiler alert, there's a 3-song single at the end. Those lyrics, stupid. Did I love them? Yeah. But this album does this bizarre 180 at the end on the song Deep Fake,
Yeah.
where it's like no precedent whatsoever. It suddenly becomes this soul-bearing ballad with lyrics that you're supposed to take very seriously.
Yeah.
Like, and here's the thing, is he does hit a few notes where I'm like, wow, that feels like personal and really like there for you.
Yeah.
But sometimes the very quote unquote deep tracks feel very like weird and impersonal. Because there's these like hard-hitting moments in these songs, but they're bookended by lines that feel like they came off of a depressed girl's Tumblr.
Yeah.
Like he says, like, maybe I'm already dead because I'm spending every moment with this existential dread on the chorus of Introvert, combined with the cheesy little like robot voice saying
Yeah.
Brakence has been successfully eradicated. It comes off so silly and frivolous. And then on the fucking closing track, he says, I spent all my serotonin on you. I did everything I can and I fucked it up again. It feels like a boardroom wrote it. Like this use of buzzwords like existential dread and using the chemical name serotonin for like happiness is so
Yeah.
played out to me that it has almost, very close to almost, maybe in 2 years, it has a sort of antique charm, but it does not quite hit that spot for me.
So yeah, no, because I actually really liked Deepfake. I think that's a great track. Like he takes away a lot of the auto tune that like has been coding his voice for the whole thing on here,
Mm-hmm.
and like just kind of lets himself. You're right, like it is very soul bearing, and I wasn't expecting it to like kick in, and
Mm-hmm.
then it did, and it felt like surprisingly earned. There's like a weird like dubstep thing going on with it that like comes across pretty strong and like fitting with what he's talking about, and then he ends it by saying like, because my whole personality's fake and I want someone else in my place, that'd feel so much better. I'll settle for now and endeavor to die or create. Which, like, whoa, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, whoa, where'd that come from? Like, it's really odd because with what we were talking about with him like coming off as painfully white and like just saying dumb shit about like anime or like really, really like you thought about this way too hard on rhymezone.com before saying
Mm-hmm.
this like
Yeah.
tight bars for someone like who commits to that like writing mode so hard to suddenly pivot to like a barefaced admission that like yeah my personality is really fake. I don't think I deserve to be here at all, and if I don't keep creating I'll die is like what back up
Yeah,
like
literally.
where did that come from? And like I think he really sticks the landing on this song, and then I think he should have ended the album. I think it should have just stopped,
Yeah.
and instead he goes on for like that fucking weird ass song right before the end that like dissolves into a bunch of producer tags at the halfway point and it
Mm-hmm.
goes on for way too long. And then the title track at the end, which I think is just a totally unnecessary footnote.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should have just like, if he's aware that his writing isn't that great, which from what the sentiment on Deepfake is, feels like he might know that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if like he can't really bring himself out of that mode to write anything except an admission that he knows the writing isn't great, and like the way that that makes him feel, like close with that. Like
Yeah.
let us enjoy this album for what it is because I do, and then just like close it with the real sentiment, and that's all
Yeah.
you need. And I think he doesn't really let himself do that.
This is kind of having the same issue in a weird parallel to what the Rico Nasty album did earlier in the year, where she did just tack on at the end these bizarrely like self-aware,
Yeah.
like my life isn't all that. After before earlier in the album, be like, I fuck hard, I do drugs, my
Yeah.
life rocks, you suck, and it feels the same here because like we said he talks about how he's a womanizer and like even your bitch wants him. He buys condoms and he does
I
drugs.
forgot about the condom line. The line
Yeah.
having like a Trojan in his pocket or something.
Yes, yeah, like he buys condoms.
Got a Trojan and crashed me is what he
Yup.
says on Venus
Yup.
Flytrap, which is so funny.
Yeah, so he talks about all of this and then like I'm not even kidding, that's most of the subject matter. Like hard to find another song that doesn't cover either I'm good at sex,
My music is awesome.
my music is awesome, I lost my girlfriend, I'm sad, I lost my boyfriend, I'm sad, or I want to kill myself. Which is just such a like it's such a narrow depth at the front and then at the back it's like whoa pal. So it's just weird.
Yeah, that's an interesting comparison to draw with the Rico Nasty thing because I feel like Rico Nasty's writing is so much more developed than his
Mhm.
because like I fully believe when she's talking about like she's on her shit talk mode. Like I fully like I'm invested in that. She shit talks well. I believe
Yeah.
that. And then at the end of the album when she's like opening up a bit, I also believe that. It sounds genuine to me, but it's just they're contradictory and don't work together. With
Yeah,
this,
and also musically it's a lot less developed.
yeah. With this, like I I believe what he's saying at the end, but from the start, I have never believed any of the like on his shit talking mode. Like it sounds so like this is the thing I have to do in this lane. Like it is just not authentic at all.
Not at
and
all.
like that's fine, truthfully. Like I don't care. And you can totally do the degree of like I'm shit talking, but my heart's not in it, and then reveal the truth at the end. But like it feels like he wants you to think his heart's in it, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So we've just gone off on this album for like the lyrics for a really long time. And before I move on, I do just want to say I love the sound of this album. Like this is one of the most Sophie core things to come out this year in terms of the sound. This is a phenomenally produced album. His like as much as he sounds like a moron when he's flexing about how good his beats are, they are fucking
They are
good.
actually good, yeah.
They are actually really good. I think CBD is one of the best like pop singles of the year and is one of his most like mature moments on the album. The like groove is so like especially for hyperpop, the groove is so simple and classic and digestible, and he does not clutter the songwriting and melody writing with any unnecessary like there's exactly enough pieces in the mix for this to work and nothing more, and as a result it becomes like one of the catchiest and most danceable things that I have heard this year. It is such a good song, and I was so surprised when it came out as a single, like wow, this is really the same guy making this. And then I think Teeth has some really weird like Flume-esque stuff on the beat. Like some of the synths sound like pebbles like falling on something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really like creative and interesting approaches to both like Midwest emo and hyperpop and ways to fuse them here that I would love to hear like developed even further now that he has like a budget and this album is getting well received enough that I think he'll like stay with this for the next while.
Yeah. I will say I wish that he got another person to like collab with him that is more experienced in Midwest emo, because like we said, he repeats that riff a lot. And I think that that's just because he's not a person who writes for like that genre.
19 or 20. He's really young.
Yeah, exactly. So like imagine if you will, fucking, I mean, American Football Man is still making things.
Mike Kinsella, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Kinsella, like, doing some riffs for this album. It would just elevate it, I think.
That'd be hilarious, and it will never happen, but yeah, I would be into it.
Even if it's not, like, the big name, anybody who's more, like, who's older and more experienced in Midwest emo, I think would add a lot to this.
Yeah. Also, 3 Chords and She All Over Me Nasty.
She is.
And she is all over me nasty, trust me, after just 3 chords.
That's amazing.
I do fucking love that song so much. I think Venus Flytrap's my favorite song. It is a bop. That is just a bop. A pure and simple bop. I think he sounds like a douche on this song, but it's funny enough that I'm okay with it. And 3 Chords and She All Over Me Nasty. I'm just obsessed. I literally have not stopped thinking about that for 1 second since I first heard this song, and I forgot that this song had made it onto the album, and when he said it on the album, I was like right back in it. Just, oh, here we go again. She is all over me nasty.
Go.
My main question for him, if I were to ever meet him, Brakence, I'll actually, you know what? Here, Brakence, this is my open letter to you. I'm gonna tag you in this on the on Twitter, and I will
on Instagram.
What?
I will on Instagram.
Okay, I hope he hears this. And I hope he hears our sincere critiques of this album and also like how much I genuinely enjoyed it and think he's unbelievably talented. But like the sound is still developing. That's my takeaway. Hi, buddy. Hi, Brakence. How are you? Hope you're having a great day. I want to know if in the lyric 3 Chords and She All Over Me Nasty, I really need to know, are you saying that the way in which she is all over you is nasty? Or is she all over your nasty?
Or is she, she's all over me, nasty.
So yeah, is she all over?
Is she sexy nasty?
Yes. Is she all over? Well, it is sexy nasty. From the context of the song, I think we can derive that he is using nasty to mean sexual. That is
like-
the phrasing that he's using here.
I like to imagine him as like a 6-year-old being like, icky cooties.
I definitely just want to know if he's talking like a pirate, like all over me nasty, me hearties, or like the way is all over him is nasty, because both are fucking hilarious, and it's
also,
a great
which
line.
chords are the 3?
Yes, what are the 3 chords? Is it 3 chords like Blink-182? Like the song has 3 chords, or is
Yeah.
it 3 chord you've only played 3 chords and she has already like jumped on your cock? Like
Yeah.
what is the people need to know.
Can you give us the magic snake charming 3 chords so we can use them for our own devious purposes?
Please, I need her to be all over me nasty and she's not.
Please help.
She all over me nasty till I break.
Yeah.
Hints.
Till I
She put her Venus flytrap all over me nasty till I
Ew.
break ins.
That one's gross.
But it sounds like something that he would say, right?
She all over on my nasty till I break-ins. Okay. I'm gonna call dicks their nasty from now on.
God, it like that is that's what I want to know.
Oh, okay.
God.
Thank you, Brakence, for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Brakence, for tuning in. I as much as it sounds like I may have been shitting around your album, I'm not. I really enjoyed this. I'm getting a lot out of it. Sincerely, I love this, and I hope you continue bringing.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to see what you do next. If you want an interview, let me know.
Please.
Okay. All right. Oh, I didn't say all right. Whoa.
Wow. Character development.
Okay. Our next album is going to be Tricot with Fudeki.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.
I don't
Tricot
think
never fail.
Oh my god, they don't miss. We were saying Simz doesn't miss. Tricot, like
They've been in the game for a long time, and they've
clinically incapable of missing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know who the principal songwriter is for this, but whoever it is, like, dude, what is going on in your brain that you can just churn these shits out like nonstop?
Incredible.
I don't think this album is quite as good as Jodeci. But it's like
that makes sense because it's their pop album, and this one is their noisy album.
Well, sure, but I think it is like comparing an Oreo to like the same Oreo with slightly less fill at the end of the day. Like it is wow, 2 Oreos. It's like great. This is fucking great. It's not even like the noisiness of it bothered me. It didn't. I really liked all the noisy parts of this album. It's just like I don't think the songs were really as like good, but like I can't say that because it's like just like that. It's just that much that I like the other one better.
Personally, I preferred this one to Jodeci.
That's funny because it's the noise album and the last one was the pop album.
Precisely. That's actually like most of why. Because I really love Tricot with more grimy production.
Yeah.
And because I just am a big fan of the like soft like female vocals over like really harsh
nasty
dissonance.
Shit,
I love that. Like that's why Time and Place by KKB is one of my favorite albums.
So good
because it's so nasty. I love it. But
the album Time and Place. I was thinking about specifically the song. What was the really long one for their most recent EP?
That's Well Rested.
Well Rested, yeah. I don't know why I thought that you meant that one, but
Well Rested is also nasty in a different way.
Yeah, Time and Place is awesome and is really nasty.
Yeah, which I love it for. I listened to it in the car today, and I was like, "Oh yeah, scream in my ear."
It's good. I love that. I love that album.
All right, so down to Tricot again.
Yes.
The intro and the outro both going like really hard into the noise. Is a great bookend. And like Tricot still definitely like go into a lot of pop structures on the album. Like I would say that Tricot consistently are great math rock, both for people who are really into math rock and people who are not.
I was on there like, so I was watching the YouTube video, the music video for hashtag Achui.
And such a good song.
It's a really good song. And in the YouTube description, they have like a little like biography of themselves, and
Mhm.
the thing says, the members of this band have no idea what math rock is. This is just what they want to write. And like that
Yeah.
comes through so well because it can be pretty easily sorted into like the math rock genre if you care
Mhm.
about that sort of thing. But like it also has like this like unstoppable sense of fun and exploration at all times that I
Mhm.
think so much math rock just fails to have. Like it gets
Mhm.
so up in its own ass.
Yeah. I mean, they even, like, on their Instagram bio, I was looking, it just says the page of Japanese rock band Tricot. Like,
Yeah.
they don't, like, categorize themselves. Um, but, they definitely get some serious funk going on. I
Yeah.
believe it's a choi. Like, they do get,
Oh,
like,
okay.
actual, like,
It's
like,
like Wonka Wonka ass, like Red Hot Chili Peppers
and
guitars.
it
It
works
fucking
so
rules.
well.
It's awesome.
The drums go insane on
I
OOL.
literally wrote. Oh, I was gonna say on Achoy. Shout
They
out to the
also go
drummer
hard on
for
Achoi.
like this song could have sounded so stupid, but the drummer like puts enough energy in it to just straight up kill someone in it. It's a
Yeah.
banger.
The ending drums on OOL are brutal. They're so fucking good.
Yeah.
The
Um,
drum presence on this whole album is great.
it's awesome. I firmly believe after this that Moto Kita is one of the best guitarists in rock. She can do fucking anything.
Anything. She's
Literally anything.
amazing.
Like, it's not even like some of these other guitarists that are like so good at one specific thing. Like, she has to do 50 different things on this album,
Mhm.
and somehow like sometimes she's just like a wall of accompanying noise, sometimes she's doing like straight up U2 style riffs, sometimes she's doing the like Red Hot Chili Peppers, sometimes she's doing like more traditional J-rock like riffing,
Mhm.
and she like not only excels at all of them, she also unifies them tonally for the record in a way
Mhm.
that I don't think anybody else that I can think of could have pulled off.
Yeah,
And also like marks like it is unmistakably her the entire time. You can easily tell that it's her playing style.
for sure. Shout out female drummers.
Female
Just
drummers whip ass.
they do. But yeah, the drum presence on this whole album is great. So is the bass. The bass is also really great.
Some of
Um,
the bass grooves on this album are so fucking good.
yeah, and Jodan Kente is such a good progression for a song that is a very loosely structured track
Yeah.
and relies on like that really great sounding guitar at
Mhm.
the end. Oh, so good. I also wanna shout out End Roll for being so goddamn catchy. And it has such a great drum presence once again that I like don't
Yeah.
know what to do with myself.
Yeah,
And
totally.
then followed up immediately by Android, which is loud as fuck.
Yeah, that one is like this so the drummer on this song just kind of pounds one rhythm for the whole song, like just like the
Mhm.
same like driving rhythm with them being like all lo-fi on top of it. Do you
Mhm.
know what this sounds like?
Hmm.
This is the Trico version of Car Seat Headrest.
True, that's why I like it.
It's so good. This song's awesome.
And they sound so great, like the vocals over something harsh like that. Like that
Yeah.
jam outro too is so good, like where she's just doing the drums and then they
Yeah.
come in and they do that last little riff. Um, I think that Kujira is also a really compelling ballad with like the
I
really light drum work and like the watery guitar.
I unfortunately translated all of the track titles in my notes, and I do not know which one that is.
That
Um,
is the ballad after Android, not Crumb.
I think that is the one that I have as Whale in my notes.
Ah, probably.
Um,
Um, but I thought that that one was very, compelling with the drum work. I
yeah.
didn't love Crumb. I thought that it was a little too slow, and I thought that it broke up some of the energy in the front part of the album.
Oh, huh.
So, I thought Kujita was a good I thought it did the ballad a little bit better for
Yeah.
me.
So I completely agree. I think Kujita also is like that's a fantastic track. I think the way it slows down the pace is really good. And I really love Nakajima's like vocal performance here because
Mhm.
she is also capable of a lot of different things, and she
Mhm.
is very silly. Like just on a couple songs before this on like End Roll, like that's a very like that is like pure genre J-rock the mid 2000s. Like this could have been like, I hate to say this could have been an anime OP for anything in that era, but it totally could have been. And they
It
know
totally
it.
could
Like
have.
they're having a good time with this like style.
Mhm.
And so she's like not taking she's pretty silly on there. Like she's going all over the place. But like when she like sits down and needs to deliver an emotional performance like on this song, she really, really sells it.
Yeah.
And the guitar, this is another one that I was talking about where Motofor Kita's like guitar is like, it's really quiet and subtle on this song. And like the fact that she can do that so well after having just done Android the track before is like just fucking crazy. She's so good.
Yeah. And I think also that something to be noted here is we had talked about Trico a while back when I was listening to Black for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm listening to Trico right now. And Sophie goes, they dropped a new album? And then she was like, wait, me learning that people listen to things that weren't released yesterday. But when we were talking about that, we were talking about the different way that Trico uses math, like apart from other math rockers, which makes sense considering that they don't consider it math rock, is that they just use it to emphasize emotional beats and the vocals. They're not trying to do anything crazy. They just want to make the song be sold better.
Yeah. The math is never the point. That's
No.
that's what I think they really like get that a lot of other bands don't. That like the math shouldn't be the point. The point shouldn't be it's technical proficiency over songwriting. Like
Yeah.
mathy songwriting has a lot of potential to like really amplify the things you're talking about. Like adding
Like
in
Dismemberment
stuff like,
Plan.
yeah, totally. Like adding in stuff like unconventional time signatures and like chords that don't like link up the way you'd expect them to in an average like pop rock song like this, like can heighten the emotions of those songs so much. But people get so hung up on like just doing the craziest time signature possible or like this ridiculous riff that's impossible to play that like they forget that the whole point of playing a really difficult riff is to like get an emotion that's difficult to convey. Like
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah. And that ending track is something else entirely. It is so brilliant. The one half vocal and the back half just absolutely shredding instrumental is just so fucking good. And it's long too. And I do think that this deserves the length because it really, you just get to hear them go wacky crazy on it. And it sounds like so much fun, but it's also funny. Is so crunchy.
It's so Nirvana. It's so specifically.
It's so grungy.
It really sounds like the guitar and the vocal melody at the right beginning really, really, really sounds like heart-shaped box,
Literally.
which is so funny. And then it like gets Trico-ier as it goes on, sure.
Yeah.
And then it devolves into like genuine metal by the end.
Yeah.
So it is a direct bookend with the first track, and I think predictably, I don't really care about the first track because it's just like it starts as a blast of sound and ends as a blast of sound. And it's like, okay, just take me into Achoy, please.
Yeah,
like, I just
it's kind of the tone setter, I think.
But this last track, like, if like it is almost the same sound, like it is almost the same blast of sound that it launches back into at the end. And the fact that it has that much buildup before it and then like crashes into that makes that sound, that just like squalling dissonance, be a payoff instead of like just there. And that is so important to me for liking that kind of thing. And it like they sell it so good. Like it lands. This is like the biggest stick the landing moment of 2022. It is so good.
It is really fucking good. And I think that for somebody like me who's a big fan of noise rock and really enjoys mathcore like mixed with stuff as well.
Yeah.
This was just a like on paper, like I wrote this song, you know? Like this is for me. And it definitely delivered on that. It just it's such a cathartic listen, especially because I just love them and their performances and their presences when they're playing.
I would love to see them someday. Like that is a dream show.
As soon as I finished this album, I looked up if they're touring. They aren't right now, sadly. But I to have it pay off in such a way that like really tickles me in literally every way. It's so good, and you can tell
This
it's good because I brought back being tickled,
oh, just like Conway.
just like Conway.
This record is really good at setup payoff, like in general, like just in terms
Hmm.
of like individual songs will set up a sound and then at the end of the song deliver like a bigger or like crazier version of that sound, but also just like taking a sound at one point and then reintroducing it later in a different context, like the Wonka Wonka guitars, they come
Hmm.
back on Steno, which
Yeah.
is easily one of my favorite songs on here also. That song's great. Like they take that wonky, like stupid funk sound and like spin it somehow in a way that's like slightly like it's almost like dark. I don't know how they
Hmm.
managed to do that. It's like a little darker and a more driving. It goes over like really well for how like goofy that sound comes off when some people do it. And I don't know. I think they're just impossibly cool. I
Yeah.
really wish I knew what the lyrics on Steno meant because I was looking around and I don't think anyone's transcribed them yet, even into Japanese. And titling the song like after one of the Gorgons that isn't Medusa is like that is like tickle. Like there's so much you could do with that concept,
Yeah.
and I don't know, and it's driving me crazy.
I think that once the vinyls start to go out and there's probably an English sheet in there, they'll
Yeah.
probably go up on Genius.
From what I could tell, a lot of the lyrics in other places are pretty stream of consciousness, but
Yeah.
that is like not a detractor because I think it works for the sounds they're doing.
Yeah, and I gotta say too that they are really good at making a fucking catchy chorus.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because I have had these melodies from these choruses stuck in my head for like the week that I've had to listen to this. I've already listened to this album 4 times, which is
It's
very
so
rare for
good.
me. It's so good and it's so repeatable.
It
I
is
just
so
throw it
replayable.
on in the car. It's so
Um,
fucking good.
it's a really good driving album.
It is.
The funniest part about it for me is that we're talking about like how good the choruses are on this album and how strong the like pop appeal of this album are and how replayable it is, and this
Mhm.
is their noise album.
Yeah,
Like they are just so consistent.
yeah, and they're digestible no matter what they do, really.
Oh my god, yeah, this is such an like accessible take
If
on this
you
style.
Honestly, if you have been, like, interested in getting into noise or noise rock of any kind, give this album a shot because you will find at least one thing that you like on this album, and it will have elements of that, and it might help you kind of assimilate into
I
that
would
if you
even
want
say
to.
like I would even say like if you're afraid of noise rock and have never even really considered listening to it before, this is
Yeah.
like if noise rock was pop.
Yeah,
Like it
for
is
sure.
if you like J-rock in any sense, you'll love this because it's just great J-rock in addition to all the other like mathy and noisy things it does. But
Mhm.
like I think if you've been on the fence or like have had a tough time in the past getting into it, this is an album that like it's not dipping its toes into the water. It's embracing them full-heartedly, but it's embracing them in a way that is ultimately for the strength of a bunch of really fucking good pop songs.
Definitely, for sure. Join me in the shredding your ears train. We'll
Yes.
start slow. Yeah, the one song that I, like, thought had, like, a little less presence than the rest was Aquarium, but it was whatever, I wasn't
I
really.
dug that. It's a pretty straightforward, but it's a single, and I liked
Yeah,
it.
I wasn't, like, bummed by it or anything, but
Yeah.
I was like, "I kinda wanna listen to the end again."
I agree with you that Crumb is the one that I just, like, was not super huge into,
Yeah.
but I actually thought it was pretty good for the pacing of the album, so I don't know. Pick your battles on that, I guess.
Yeah, I just like an album that shreds and rips and keeps going.
Yeah.
So that felt to me a little bit like, how cool down songs feel for you, where I was like, "Keep going." Yeah. So, also, shout out to the remix at the end because normally I do not like remixes tacked on at the end
Oh,
of
yeah.
things, but this one was really good.
Yeah, that one was fun.
I think it actually added a lot to that because I do like the title track of Jodeki anyway.
Yeah.
But this one I will say normally I really hate remixes at the end, like viscerally. But this one I thought was very good.
I think it being a remix of something from the last album kind of helps it just like exist on its own rather than
Yeah.
like forcing it to share space with everything else on the album. Like it is on the disc, but it's very much just like, hey, also there's this.
Yeah, and it definitely does make kind of rockify that song a little bit
Yeah.
more. Brings out the guitar a little bit more, kind of makes the vocals more present in like sort of a dissonant way. It's very
Yeah.
cool. All right, so that's it. We have officially our voyage has ended.
Oh shit, yeah, damn.
On the radio train, and we're pulling into single station.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that's it. That's all our albums coverage for 2022.
Oh wow,
That's
it is.
that's our first year of new music releases done.
Oh my god,
How
that's
you
so
feeling?
sentimental. Oh, that's cute. I'm glad that was our last album.
Yeah, I'm very glad that was our last one because it is definitely the one that like entered my consciousness the last of these,
Yeah,
and an awesome note to end like new releases for the year on. It's such a
for
good one.
sure. Yeah. And also an album that or an artist that we both really like, and we're very
Yeah.
pleased with this result, which is great.
I never doubted them for a second, to be fair.
No,
But
never ever. I like when I saw it, I was like, this is gonna be good. But yeah, I've been very grateful to have this podcast with you.
this has like you know me, I've always like just devoured new releases. Like I am the person who doesn't listen to anything that wasn't released 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I feel like you have brought a thoughtfulness to my life in music that has
Aw.
been very very much appreciated and very rewarding and so much fun.
Thank you. I feel the exact same. I have historically ignored new releases completely until like 2 years later when I'm like, oh, this is on my radar now. And then I'm like, why did I not listen to this at the time? This is great. So that's been really rewarding to be like on the ball, I guess. And also to like have albums to share with people who like are into music but they just haven't heard these. It's been really fun. And taking notes on these has been very stimulating for me.
It is actually so much fun. It's
the best.
ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's nice because I get to like get all of my thoughts out. And even if we have a small platform, this is still my platform to be able to say talk my shit.
Yes.
And it's so nice.
This is the space where everything you say is correct unless I disagree with it.
Precisely. And it always it's nice to have you two who I like deeply respect in terms of like music consumption and like understanding to like vindicate or challenge me in such a way that's very constructive, and I love it.
I feel the exact same way because it's like I never really have been because in like my friend groups over all the years I have always been like the music one. Like I'm always the one who like is the one who listens to a shit billion albums all the time and is always got a music opinion. And like until we started doing this, like it was often like I took the fact that my opinions were universal almost for granted. Like it definitely like I don't know, not in like a oh you're keeping me humble kind of way, but like I don't know, it is so fun to have someone who has like we listen to such different music but also like a lot of this it's like we like a lot of the same things and appreciate the things that we appreciate that we both appreciate, we often appreciate for very different reasons.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's just fun to like bounce shit off of you because I know you're always gonna have I can always count on you to have like some brain enlarging take that will just like make my head explode at some point. Like it's awesome. It is so you're the best co-host possibly ever asked for.
Oh, same. I do legitimately sometimes listen to albums and hear the way that you describe things in my head. Because I like your verbiage a lot, and I really like the way that you phrase things. So a lot of the time, I'll like when I'm writing notes, I'm like, how could I phrase this? And I'm like, how would Sophie phrase it?
I added buku bonkers to my vocabulary after episode 1 or whatever, and it just has not left.
Go. To think that all this started from me seeing you outside a boathouse and being like, hey, you want to start a podcast for new releases? And you were like, yeah, yes.
It was like the question I'd been waiting for someone to ask me for 25 years. I don't know. Before I was born.
Yeah, I was like, dude, Sophie would be perfect for this. She knows everything.
And I don't because it was literally I felt it was like, oh, Megan knows fucking everything. I don't know shit.
That's so funny.
It is hilarious. We don't know shit together.
And that is why there are no bad takes here, just takes.
Yes.
Because none of us know anything. And I am so glad. I would never have asked to get a hate comment with anybody else. We got our first not one but two comments about a negative response to an album, and that was for Mr. Quadeca. Sorry, guy.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I
Sophie
knew that
get me the fucking funniest Christmas present ever, though.
So I knew if we were going to get a hate comment about anyone, it probably would be the YouTube rapper.
Yeah.
Do you want to say the Christmas present, or should I say the Christmas present?
I think it's funny from my perspective.
Okay.
But so Sophie texts me at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. my time.
It was, which means it was like 4 a.m. for me.
Yeah. And Sophie is like, hey, for no reason in particular, what is your shipping address? And I was like, if you were anybody else, I would block you right now. But I trust
Sorry, I
you.
got hacked at 4 a.m.
Yeah, I literally thought that. I was like, did she get hacked? But no. So I was like, here it is. And she goes, okay, Merry Christmas. You have a present coming your way. And I was like, oh, fuck. Because I hate getting your unreciprocated presents because I'm like, I feel so bad. Like, I want to be able to do something. And you're like, no, don't worry. It's like so small and very impulsive. And I was like,
it was, I need to reiterate that it was 4 a.m. And
yeah.
I was like, I had this idea and I was like, if I don't do this right now, I'm not going to do it. And then I'll feel stupid like next year when we have like way more hate comments.
Yeah. So she screenshots it, and she sends it and gets a glossy photo print, like 12 by 3 inches of the comment that says, and I quote, horrible take on the Quadeca album. And it is so horrendously pixelated, and it's so small, and they sent it in a full-size poster canister.
It looks like shit.
They sent it in a full-size poster thing. And so I was like, oh my God. And I opened it, and my brother was like, what the hell is in there? I was like, I have no idea. So I dump it out, and there's like the receipt inside, like a little piece of paper that's like, it's like the gift receipt or whatever. And I didn't see it in there, and I was like, what is this? And so I like shake the receipt, and it falls out, and I see the text, and I start cackling. I was laughing so hard, and my mom was like, oh, it's your first $1. I was like, yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna mat that on black and hang it in my dorm because
that makes me so happy.
So valuable to me.
It is so fucking funny. So the one I got you was like it's just the one sentence, horrible take on the Quadeca album. That's all it says.
Yeah,
and
we got another one.
We got another one like 5 minutes later, like after 5 minutes after I had sent you after I had confirmed the poster.
Yeah.
And it was like a fucking essay. And if that had been the first one, I would have gotten you that, and that would have been incredible also.
Oh my God, yeah. That paragraph. It's the funny thing about those, the reason normally I wouldn't categorize these as like hate comments because they're not like overtly mean, but they're not constructive whatsoever.
No.
So like even the guy who sent a paragraph was like, here's why you're wrong.
We did actually get a reply to that. You know what, guy?
Oh, really?
I didn't look at, I saw that we got a reply, but I didn't look at the reply until now. Because you are our first long hate comment, you get an on air. I'm reading your shit. What the fuck is the title of it? Oh, right. All Brock, no Hampton.
Which was, we always have a conversation where we're like, what the fuck do we title this?
Holy shit, we have 60 views on this.
Wow.
Let's go. Oh my God, we got a third one. Holy fucking shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So what he said originally was, so I'm just going to read all the parts of this because I'm ignoring this new one because I'm scanning this and this is fucking stupid. Okay. So this person, and I think they meant well. This is Kai OCT, not the docs, but this is who it is. There's definitely a lot of points you guys missed on Quadeca's album. I think him changing his sound in hopes of performing better is a really dumb take. If anything, he performed way better when he made corny rap songs. He sacrificed most of his audience by changing his sound. He had a lot of meaning doing this concept, especially with what he went through to make it. You guys also didn't talk about the production that much, which is pretty fucking insane considering all of it is produced by him. I hate how you guys just talk down to him a lot here. He's 100% a real artist and not a YouTube rapper. He hasn't even uploaded a real YouTube video in a year. Also, so many people say the same shit about his vocal content, which, yeah, if you don't understand why he mixes it like that and sings out of key sometimes, I get it, but it's a part of the concept. If you want to hear proper vocals from him, listen to his previous album, From Me to You, which this might surprising to you, but he is actually a great singer. His tracks Shades of Us, Can't You See, Back Up to Earth, the best example, Sisyphus, they all have amazing vocal content. This album proves so much of his ability to make amazing and meaningful music with a great concept. Okay, so this is obviously a Quadeca fan, and obviously, I think he means well. He's also obviously pretty young. Like, it's not like this person is definitely young, which I think a lot of Quadeca's album skews and is why he's so like giant on like Metacritic or whatever right now.
Yeah, I get why people might be feeling that way about this album because it's probably like their first concept album in a lot of ways.
And so here's what I replied. Hey there, Sophia, thanks for listening. It's true that he probably got better numbers while making his earlier stuff in terms of reception. But in terms of reception, this is far and away his best appreciated record yet, which I do also agree with. I genuinely think that it is his best album. As for the production, while it sounds pretty good technically, when we talk about stuff like the ambient passages not landing for us, but the climaxes of songs being impactful but too short, that's the kind of thing we're paying attention to with production. It is cool that the whole thing's self-produced, sure, but we're more concerned with if that production is achieving the goals he's trying to achieve, and we just don't think he got all the way there. I don't think Megan's heard his last album, but I have, and I do agree that his vocals there are better. That's something I'll admit to forgetting about, but I guess even with the concept, I don't really agree with the decision to sing off key on purpose. Like I said in the podcast, I worry more about the song being good first, and then the conceptual angle can heighten the song, which it does. I think the conceptual stuff on the album is pretty cool, but it's in service of some underbaked songs and weird songwriting choices. And then some shit about like YouTube rappers don't exist, they're all just rappers. He is a real artist, but he is more concerned with sounding like a real artist on this one. And the bold decisions, whatever. Yeah, like they don't work, but he's trying to make them. So he has now replied to this and he said, I personally think he hit every mark when it came to the concept and production. I can understand the vocal opinion, but what do you mean he makes bold decisions and trying to make something more artistic and worth it rather than something fun? I wouldn't say this is a fun album, so I don't expect some Beeman type song on here, and you legit chose the best choruses to use as an example, but hey, it's your opinion, keep doing what y'all are doing.
That's a pretty reasonable response. Good for him.
It is. I guess to clarify what I meant, I feel like a lot of the like wilder things on this album, like quote quote wilder, like doing the 8-minute ambient outro or whatever it was, like the concept of the doing that doesn't land because the song surrounding it is weak.
Yeah.
Versus like he's like, oh, wouldn't this be a cool idea? I'm gonna do this, instead of thinking about what is best for the song. I guess like it is a bold decision, sure, but it's not a bold decision made with respect to the concepts or the music.
Yeah, I actually I just thought of a comparison album that I think does exactly what he's trying to do, but in a much more planned and well executed way.
Yeah.
Which is Eureka by Kinoko Teikoku. This is a very fuzzy album. And her vocals are very low, and in a lot of times they're very restrained. And she's doing a lot of repetition, a lot of low sort of talking and mumbling through her lyrics.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of emotion, and she uses a lot of pop tempos, but there are a lot of areas where it just devolves into noise or it gets really drawn out.
Yeah.
So if any quadeca stragglers came through here and decided to listen to the next episode, I would say give this album a try, because it is one that I think very highly of, and I think that it executes on the ideas that quadeca is trying to do, which are not bad ideas. I just don't think that they were played upon quite as well as he might have wanted to, but I think that this album does them a lot better. So give it a try and see if it's just his album that really hits for you, or if this is just a style of music that you've now had your eyes open to that you like.
I also might throw Moses Sumney's Gray into the ring here, which has some similarities in terms of like wanting to go ambient occasionally, but never like sacrificing songwriting for that. It has a completely different concept, like it's not even anywhere close to a similar idea. But it is very unified in concept, has a lot of really strong like songwriting and hooks, like the catchy songs in here are amazing. And then like tying that in with more ambient and like jazz leanings. And I think if you like the sounds on this, you could totally like the sounds on that. It's Gray by Moses Sumney.
Yeah. So there's our quadeca recap, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't intend to go that direction, but yeah, that was fun. Sure.
I mean, yeah, I think I mean, if we're getting response on something, we might as well delve into it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, quadeca, you've officially gotten the most airtime out of like episode to episode out of anybody else. Congratulations.
I think we've covered King Gizzard twice, so I think they win there.
True, you've gotten the most out of me. King Giz does not inspire much in me.
Oh, you know what? Actually, we only covered the one King Gizzard album. I covered the others in the the slideshow.
So true.
You're good.
Quadeca.
Quadeca, you win.
You win. You might we might have listened to your album, but you got more of our speaking time, and therefore it balances out. All right. So
He didn't
now,
mean to haunt us.
He literally is haunting us. That's crazy. Wow. Maybe the concept was good. All right. So like I said, choo choo. Can I get a choo choo?
Choo choo.
Choo choo. All right. Anybody listening? Give us another choo choo. God, you're good at that.
Thank you.
Man. All right, so we're going into single station now. I don't know if I'm going to carry this bit into the new year, so enjoy it while it's here. The first of our singles today is going to be Gorillaz with Skinny Ape. How do you feel about this?
This is... I'm conflicted. Well, how do you... I actually want to know how you feel about it first.
I am conflicted as well. I was like, it was very slow and kind of odd in the front part, and then it just kicks up, and I was like, whoa, okay. And like, I don't know how Gorillaz lyrics normally are, but these felt a little barren to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. This, honestly, this reminded me a little bit of a worse version of Return to Monkey. Just being a skinny ape and like the sort of like synthy parts of it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like huge on it, but I am, I guess, interested to see where this album goes because, especially for you, because I remember you weren't very huge on Cracker Island at first, right?
Yes, but then it fucking like super grew on me.
Yeah, so maybe this will do the same, and I'll be interested to see if that album is also a grower for me, or if I like it immediately, or if I just don't like it at all.
Okay, I am like, this is total aside, but I'm looking at I've clicked onto Spotify for Skinny Ape, and no one told me that New Gold, like, because Cracker Island was, when it dropped, they're easily their biggest hit in years, like in terms of numbers, like that song like shot out of the gate and did crazy numbers for them already. New Gold is almost double it already. What the fuck? Where did that come from? I like that song too, but Jesus, crazy. I guess that's the Tame Impala bump.
True, actually, yeah. I mean, that's like when Thundercat's on a song and all of his fans are like, "Ooh."
Well, I guess he got the Thundercat bump on Cracker Island too.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this song is good, I think. I like it. I like the sound
question
of it.
mark.
The lyrics are not great. And it is kind of a thing they've done a few times where they're like really drawing attention to the fact that they are cartoons and that their name is Gorillaz. Like, that definitely has happened more than once, and every time it's like, did you not have anything better to write about? I don't know. I think it was one of the songs on the Meanwhile EP recently where the lyrics were just like about gorillas and cartoons.
Yeah.
Like, what, dude? Are you like, what are you doing? But I will also say, this is a song I've been anticipating for a little while because I did see it live when I saw them in Philadelphia earlier this year. And when I saw it live, it went fucking crazy. That kick-in live is crazy, and it's way more like electric guitar than synth. And I wasn't expecting it to be so synthy, and I don't dislike it. It just like was like, oh, that's what this is.
Yeah.
And I think this album, judging by the singles, which are all pretty different, I think the like core of this is that it's shaping up to be their most like pure pop album yet.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Which I don't hate. I mean, I'm me, but like it is definitely an interesting move for them now 20 years into their career to be doing. And I think like I've liked all the songs so far. I think they have not missed. Baby Queen especially has been like super in rotation for me the past few weeks. And I don't know. Like it could you're asking how I feel about the album. I think it could go either way. I think it could be really great and like the easiest Gorillaz album to just throw on loop, or it could be like the shallowest Gorillaz album because I dig the cult concept, but we haven't gotten anything from it after Cracker Island, and I don't know where it went.
I know that you were excited about the story in that music video.
Did we talk about the way I feel about Gorilla's story on the podcast? I forget.
I don't remember either.
Because it fucking sucks. It's always fucking sucked. I like Gorillaz because of the music, and I like Gorillaz because of the animation. And the story has always been just absolute bullshit and has never made sense. And anyone who tells you it makes sense is absolutely talking out their ass. It does not. It never has. Whether it's because like they ran out of budget, like on the Plastic Beach years, they like ran out of budget to do the Rhinestone Eyes video, so it just never came out until years later, and they made just like the storyboard for it. There's like a time skip between the end of Plastic Beach and where Do Ya Thing picks up, and like the villain from Plastic Beach that they never they never finished that story. Suddenly he's just living with them at the beginning of like it just doesn't, it never works.
They fixed the beef off camera.
I guess it's just bullshit. Like it just is bullshit. But like
Yeah.
I'm still very invested in these characters because I've been following them for 20 years and they have very good and defined personalities. So seeing them in a video like Cracker Island that really for the first time since Plastic Beach is like implying a deeper story is like, oh fuck, are they really gonna do it this time? But they're never gonna do it. They're never gonna do it. They never will. How many times have they said there's going to be a Netflix show and it just fucking will not happen? It is not going to happen.
That reminds me of the Warrior Cats movie. They've been saying that's going to happen since like 2013, man.
Do you know Bone, the comics Bone?
No.
It's by Jeff Smith. It's like high fantasy, but like I actually like it because it's like these funny little newspaper comic bone guys that like fucking get dropped into Lord of the Rings. It's like 8 books. They get darker as they go on. They're fucking amazing. Some of my favorite comics ever. And they have been teasing either a movie or a TV series for these comics for 20 fucking years. And
That's
this year,
crazy.
Netflix announced we're finally doing it. And I was like, no, they're not. And then like 3 months later, Jeff Smith tweeted like, yep, they pulled the plug. It's never happening.
Oh
like,
my God.
They just cannot get it together. And I think Gorillaz is the same way where like there's something going on behind us. It will never happen.
Damon will not pick up the phone.
Yeah, I don't know. But like the other thing is that none of the other 3 singles have gotten music videos yet. So I don't fucking know what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. Next up is going to be Big Pig with Picking Up featuring Deb Never.
My brain always wants to say Biig Piig.
Biig.
Biig Piig. This is the worst artist name. I fucking hate this. Like just the name Big Pig sucks by itself. And then the fact that she spelled it like this is just so dumb. I hate it.
Yeah. I don't know. This song, I didn't mind it until the breakbeat came in because I was like, this sounds like a default preset. Like, legitimately, it does not sound like an original at all. It sounds like the exact same beat that was on Zatoichi. Like, which I didn't note. I like Zatoichi is fine because it uses it like in a more, I guess, aptly produced way.
Okay.
But
that is a to be fair, that is a very famous sample and like a very like core part of breakbeat music is the amen break, which is like
ugh. Use a different one. I don't care. It's boring.
I love a breakbeat. I will love a breakbeat thing, and this song was just like, okay, it's Big Pig and Deb Never, like very much in their lane, and then suddenly it was breakbeats. So like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I heard
like
the breakbeat and I was like, I know why it's on the singles list.
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie about that. That is why it's on the singles list, but I do like it. Big Pig is a weird artist for me because like she's been around for a while and popular for a while and still doesn't have an album out or anything, and seems like she's just content to release random singles until the day she dies, which like, I mean, okay, sure, but I don't know.
Kinda
Do you
sucks.
want to have like a body of work? Do you want to like have a, I don't know. It's weird. She's a weird artist. Sometimes she comes through with a song that I really enjoy, and sometimes it's like, okay, this is the most generic thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
All right, next up is going to be Mercury with the Fear Mercury EP.
I had a feeling you wouldn't like this one, and from what you were messaging me, you sounded like it was testing you.
Yeah, I said this this EP is torturing me. Because I'm not even kidding. I laughed out loud when I Need a Light or when Need a Light came on because I was like, what is this bunk ass Stereo Lab sample? Like, what is happening? And it just does not get any more palatable throughout the rest of the song. It just stays as this really weird, like the beats like on one and then the quartet or the sample is like a half a beat off. It's so jarring and weird. I did not like it at all. It made me like feel like I had buggies in my skin.
It is a very, like, they pick really weird moments to kick the beat in, but, like, once it's in, I rock with it. It is very much in, like, a lane of I'm sure there's a name for this style. I feel kinda stupid for not knowing it, but, like, it is very much in the lane of, actually, like, kinda like the Evil Gianni track that we're gonna talk about later, like, that, Real Young Phil and people like him have been on recently. Um, like, it's taking a really, like, spacey it's almost plug, but it's not. It is a new sound, I'm not sure what to call it, but it takes, like, this really, like, almost, like the word I wanna use is, like, oblique
The
approach to sampling, like
um on Rate Your Music, they categorize it as plug with two G's.
yeah, plug I guess plug is the word. I feel like it's moving out of that, though, because usually plug has, like, some more embellishments, I guess, that are
They
very
have it
specific to that sound.
they have this album in particular as plug, sample drill, and cloud rap.
I guess sample drill is what they mean by it, because it is some drill, and, like, Evil Gianni, as we'll see later, does drill too, but I don't think it necessarily has to be, and this album isn't that all the time. Um, but yeah, like, it takes a very recognizable sample and then just kind of, like, dumps a beat over it, and you are off to the races, and, like, whether you like the song or not depends just as much on how good the sample is as how good the artist is.
Yeah.
Um and I don't know, I have rocked with Mercury for a little bit. She has put out some stuff that is really good and some stuff that I think is kind of whack. I'm happy to hear her back in a space that I am enjoying her in, but I definitely get why you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, not my speed,
I
really.
didn't like her Merc tape thing that she did last year at all. But she has like a lot of singles, like Big Bucks fucking rules, Mac 11 fucking rules. Just I don't know. It's weird. She's kind of figuring herself out, but I was into this one.
She seems to have a pretty developed aesthetic, which
Yeah.
is cool to see, but also I didn't feel like there was, I guess, enough of an identity in the music to sort of supplement that. So I was like, I could see you being like not in like a pigeonholey way, but I could see you being like an influencer or like someone who people like the aesthetic of.
Yeah.
But I don't see myself ever really being into this style of music.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, next up is Caroline Polachek with Welcome to My Island.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
It's very spacey and open in not a pleasant
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Um,
She is left to do most of the heavy lifting with her voice, which like
mhm,
is really she is the best singer in pop, like in terms of technical ability. I think like she's just fucking no one else can touch her.
mhm.
But I don't know, like she can't carry this. Like she needs something to work with.
Yeah, it's a I don't know. I also feel like having her album is so great when it's complemented by things that really elevate it.
Hmm.
But I feel like in a situation like this where the backing track is so loose and, like I said, loose and open,
Yeah.
it kind of almost makes her sound fragile and kind of delicate,
Yeah.
but not in like a charming way, like in an unendearing kind of way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just made me feel weird. I was like, I feel like she's singing into a cave right now, and not in like the sloppy Jane way, in like the
Literally singing in a cave.
yeah, in like the like just a weird like
That album fucks, by the way.
that album fucks really hard. If you like people singing in caves, Madison by Sloppy Jane is the only one that I can think of.
If you like absolutely wacky bitches in caves, that album will do you good.
Yeah, if you like wacky bitches singing lullabies in caves, there you go. All right. Yeah, I think that we both don't like this one. We can move on.
Yeah, it's odd. I was just gonna say because I love Bunny as a writer. Like that song does things to me. It is so good, and there
Hmm.
are moments on Pang that also do things to me. Like so hard that it's hurting my feelings. Just like, oh my god, that song is like a dagger to my soul. But after Bunny as a writer, I think Billions is okay, and I haven't liked either of the other 2 singles. So I
Mm,
don't know what the fuck is going on with this, and I'm kind of concerned because I think people are going to sing its praises no matter what, and I like I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like when like an artist gets to a point where her fans will just like eat up anything, even if it doesn't really work to the quality of her past stuff.
SZA
Chairlift worked.
syndrome.
SZA syndrome. Chairlift worked because she had beats that were like muscular enough to work as like a contrast to how like feather-like and like ethereal and like flexible her voice was. This just doesn't give her anything to work with.
Yeah. I definitely think that like the most recent Caroline Polachek exposure that I had was her feature on the Flume album. And I even prefer
God
her
save me, I
there.
forgot she was on that.
Yeah, I prefer her there because he put her on like a really like kind of trappy, like heavy
Yeah.
beat, and I think that that makes her like it emphasizes how feathery and ethereal and like she
Yeah.
floats above that beat, you know, in a really great way that like it kind of foils the beat. But here, when you have a featherlight beat and a featherlight singer, it just feels like if you breathe, it's gonna stop, you know?
Yeah.
It's just kind of uncomfortable.
I'm very interested to see where this album will go. I think it is one that we will definitely be talking about.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up is Pile with Poisons.
This fucks.
I don't know
Wow,
how I feel
really?
about it. Yeah,
Huh,
I'm not sure.
I thought you would dig this one.
I dug it at the beginning and then I just completely fell off of it. Like I was like, oh, this is my speed, and then I got to the middle and I stopped paying attention.
Huh. Yeah, no, I
Um,
really like Pile, and I thought that would be one of the like overlaps of our music taste. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that with I've noticed this about myself that with rock I have a hard time with singles because I really want to hear the context of an album.
Okay.
So I just struggle with rock singles because they always feel naked and homeless to me. I'm like,
I might give you
I need you somewhere.
I might give you a hair shirt of purpose for New For You at some point. That album's awesome.
I'd be down.
Okay. I guess we can move on from this then because I don't have a ton to say about it. I just really liked it.
All right, next is 100 gecs with the Snake Eyes single, which is 3 songs.
Goddamn.
This rocks so much.
This has made me so reassured for the direction of 1000 gecs because we had a discussion. Do you want to like kind of recap that discussion we had a little while ago?
Yeah, we had talked about how gecs are such a staple in the genre and they're so respected in the genre.
They are bearing the standard. Like you cannot deny that they are the single most influential artist in the genre.
Yeah, so whatever they do next, if it's bad, it has the potential to break the trend in the genre and kind of make it become bad. But if they do something really good that pushes in a new direction, a new good direction, then they have the potential to make this explode into a beautiful, amazing, huge genre.
Yeah. Hyperpop is in such a weird spot right now because
it's very insular.
Well, because I think it's kind of in a make or break spot right now because it is starting to become less insular. Like Brakence is on fucking Columbia. What?
True.
That's insane. Yeah. 2 years ago, that would have been insane. Brakence is on Columbia. 100 gecs are on Atlantic, and like fucking A.G. Cook is on the new Beyonce album. Like these are all like huge mainstream breakthroughs for the sound, but it's such a specific sound that it definitely has the potential to even like next year sound just dated and shit. Like it could completely collapse. And I think this next 100 gecs album, which we now finally have a release date for, is like it's so make or break for the genre because I think if it's like truly great, we can just like it will be accepted. Hyperpop will be like codified as a genre. Like if they can follow up the lightning in a bottle with like a really good higher budget record, then it will like solidify it as a real thing in a way that I think like something like fucking, I don't know, like New Jack Swing failed to do. Like it just flopped because no one came up with that album. And like I think a lot of the whole point and appeal of hyperpop at first at least was how DIY and like indie it was. Like anyone could pick it up and do it. Like you didn't even have to be good at making music, you just do it. And I think this is like really the test for hyperpop with a budget. Like if it can succeed in a space that is not that.
Yeah, to use punk terms, will it become like poser music?
Yeah.
Or will it retain that DIY soul?
And I think that this little EP has made me so much more hopeful that it will succeed, because
Yeah.
these are 3 things that are like getting left off the album. These are throwaways. And because when I saw them in last December, actually, almost a year ago to the day, that's funny.
Hmm.
They played Hey Big Man. That song was at the show. And I believe at that point was expected to be on the album and now is not. And I think that Hey Big Man is definitely not as good as either um Doritos and Fritos or Me Me Me, both of which are fucking amazing songs.
Hmm.
But it is like fun and goofy, and I wanted to have it, and I'm glad we have it. But I'm also
Hmm.
kind of glad they decided not to put it on the album and just put it out on its own.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this means that there is going to be, unlike a lot of albums that we've covered this year, a good degree of like tightness and quality
Yeah.
control. Because I think that one of the worst things that a hyperpop album can do is really stretch itself too thin.
Yeah.
Because part of the virtue of the genre, I think, is cramming a lot of things in one space. And spreading it too much would be a little bit much.
That is something I really respected about the Brakence album also.
Yeah,
Like it had
it
a
does
sound.
smush a lot.
Yeah.
I gotta shout out "Torture Me"
Oh
featuring
my
Skrillex.
fucking god.
For my EDM loving heart, in my heart of hearts, hearing the like reverse wubs and dubs on this was like food for the soul. It was amazing. Like they had Skrillex in rare form.
Skrillex chicken soup. Yeah, he doesn't do this anymore. He hasn't done this
No.
in years. He's like he did fucking Jack U for so long, and then was in a pop punk band for so long, and then produced for fucking
Young Lean.
Beyonce and Young Lean again. Like I don't know. I thought he didn't have it in him anymore, but no. I'm sure they had the conversation just like, dude,
We
just
want
do
you to
your
do what
heart.
you did in 2009.
Just do your heart.
It goes so hard.
It goes
God,
stupid.
I love this song. I wish it was longer than a minute 53.
It is also doing crazy numbers right now,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize, but it is already like it's already cracked almost 2 mil Spotify plays.
People want old school dubstep, I'm telling you.
They do.
It's time for a revival.
That's foreshadowing, by the way.
Yeah. And then Runaway, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because you really do not hear a gecs ballad ever.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Well, they have what's the one on 1000 gecs?
It's
He said I love you on the plane, said I love you too. Everything
is it I Would Never Stop?
Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, I think that's I Would Never Stop.
XX, I Would Never Stop You, XXX, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you don't hear it very often. And the way that it kicks off, I think it sounds a lot more mature than that song in sound. And the production across this whole thing is like blistering. They did such a good job on getting everything to be so heavy and intense. I'm just so excited.
Yeah, this is such a good sign if these are the leftovers and that they're sticking with like, Doritos and Fritos and Me 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 are the 2 that like, those are indicative of the direction, and then these are cut tracks. Like that's crazy. I really hope this is I am rooting for them harder than I've rooted for any group in recent memory, because I think that both of them are insanely talented and they have a lot to say, and I would hate if like the press and industry just wrote them off if this album flops, and I don't think it's going to.
Yeah. I would like to see I'd like to see 10,000 gecs reviewed in like People magazine.
Well, they made the cover of Pitchfork and then got an NYU residency, so I don't know.
There's a chance. I just think it'd be so funny to see like middle-aged women be like, who are these kids?
I love when like the serious world is forced to reckon with like goofy musicians.
I know.
Fucking the Beastie Boys, they are heroes for that.
It's so fucking good. All right, next up is Snow Ellet with Playing Dead.
What'd you think?
I don't remember it, so I don't think much.
Okay. Well, so this guy released an EP last year of kind of like quiet Midwest emo music that got decent reviews.
Oh, I do remember it. I thought it was pretty good.
I also thought it was fine. Like it didn't super impress me, but I liked it well enough. It's called Suburban Indie Rockstar. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. This one has way more punch than that EP did. And I was like, wow, this is a crazy, like almost more pop punk direction for him to go and not where I expected. And then I checked the producer credit and it is Sarah Tudson of Illuminati Hotties, who is like my angel production. I love her production so much, like an embarrassing amount. She's got to be one of my favorite producers.
And this song does not overstay its welcome either. It's nice and brief.
No. Yeah.
2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I was totally down with this direction for him, especially if Sarah is going to be heading his next album, because I think she's a fucking genius, and I hope it goes over well again. Have I made you listen to Let Me Do One More or the This Is Not the Album You're Looking For?
No, I've had it saved forever.
Maybe I'll do that. I don't think you'd like it is the thing. I think it's a little too pop for you.
I did listen to their album.
The one with the bride on the cover.
Yeah, and I thought that it was okay, but I never came back to it.
Yeah, I
actually saved some of it, and then I took it out because I was like, no, I don't like this.
I like that album, and I think it has some really good songs. Paying It Off is like, that song is so good. But I think their other two albums are much, much stronger. Pool Hopping is one of my favorite pop singles of recent memory. That song, like, owns bones. Like, I heard that song, I was like, I don't want to listen to anything else for a year, and then I didn't.
I wonder how many Illuminati Hottie Scrabbles you have.
Probably not that many, because I think I started listening to them like right before
you scrobbed.
I scrobbed, yeah. Like I think This Is Not the Album You're Looking For came out like a month or so before I started scrobbling, and I spun the shit out of that. I have that one on vinyl too. I have 77, which is not bad.
No, you'll take over Charlie soon.
Well, no, I won't, because he has 350 and I have no 177.
I do forget that you'd listen only on shuffle, really.
Yeah. I don't love every song on either Let Me Do One More or the other one, but the songs I listen to, I spin the shit out of. So, yeah, Pool Hopping probably makes up like, I would say 25% of that at least. That shit's so good. Pool Hopping. Window shopping.
All right.
Sorry, Snow Ellet, for your entire section got taken over by how much I love Sarah Tudson. Oops.
Yeah, I thought that this was fine. I do remember being like, oh, this is a like normally recent Midwest emo I find myself a little bit underwhelmed by. I think that a lot of the time they're trying really hard to reclaim some of the older sound and not necessarily furthering the genre or doing their own thing. But I think that, like you said, with the punch that he's adding here, I think that it definitely does kind of give off more energy that I've heard off of a lot of recent stuff. So I'll be looking for this album. We'll probably cover it.
Did you like that fucking Birds, what's the name of it? The emo album from last year with the like girls jumping on the bed on the cover? I Became Birds by Home Is Where.
No.
I don't know. I think you might enjoy that. I don't know. That's a recent emo album that I think does the thing that you're talking about.
Perhaps I will take a look. I'll save it.
Okay.
What was that again?
I Became Birds by Home Is Where.
I thought that it, okay. Oh, I do remember this cover. But when you said the title, my brain scrambled it, and I thought it was I Became Home, and then it was by Birdware Who.
I when I was looking at this one would constantly forget if I Became Birds or Home Is Where was the artist title.
I actually do that all the time with the Dismemberment Plan.
Really?
Yeah, I'm always like play Dismemberment Plan by Emergency and I'm like fuck.
That's funny. Is that the only album of theirs you listen to?
So far, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Dismemberment Plan is Terrified fan, and that one makes it kind of hard to forget. I would get that with the Greek Line album.
Oh yeah.
I always forget if it's Birds in Row or Greek Line is the album, is the band. It's Birds in Row. Birds in Row is the band, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's Frankenstein's monster, right?
No, it's Frankenstein. I'm committed to being wrong.
Brakenstein.
Yeah. Ew. It makes you think about him being all broken bones.
Ew.
See?
That is gross.
All right. Next up is I'll have to cut that section down so much.
Sorry.
Next up is Paramore with The News. I thought this was
Eh,
kind of boomery.
yeah. I mean, like, I get it. Yeah, the news sucks and is depressing. I don't know. This is not really a new or interesting sentiment. Sorry, Haley.
No, it's not. And I feel like they confession. I've never listened to really a lot of Paramore either. But I feel like they've probably covered this at least sometime earlier. Like,
I don't know about that. They're pretty like normal pop punk song material for the most part in their early stuff, and only really started branching out on After Laughter. I
just can't help but feel like this is very, very like boomer shit that somebody at Thanksgiving would tell me.
It is also not that musically interesting, like
No,
on top
it is
of
not.
the stuff, which I don't know. That's a little disappointing because I really like This Is Why. That song, the other single from this is it kind of goes fucking hard. And I think it's really weird to then pick this as the second single. So right now I have no idea what this album is gonna sound like.
Yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
After Laughter is already so different from the rest of their catalog that pivoting back to like pop punk again was like, oh, cool, awesome. Like they're coming back a little like stronger and wiser. And that song definitely has like a more mature like writing perspective to it while going back to some of those sounds. And then they followed up with this, and I'm like, okay, great. Now I have no idea where we are.
Yeah, I think the first song is mature in like a good way, like as in like, wow, cool, like you've really grown and you know how to like make a better pop punk song now.
Yeah.
And this one is mature in the like, oh no, you care about world politics now.
Yeah. And I mean, After Laughter was so like emotionally intelligent. And then Haley's 2 solo albums that she's done since then are emotionally intelligent almost to a fault. Like that it's kind of all they want to talk about. That to then come back to Paramore with this is odd. I don't know. Not into it. I'm hoping that it is an outlier, but I think it is very weird to be released as a second single.
Yeah. Next up is going to be Aesop Rock with Pumpkin Seeds featuring Lupe Fiasco.
I don't know what the fuck they're saying, but I like it.
Unfortunately, I feel like Aesop Rock is like growing off of me.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. I just did not like register much on this. Hopefully he drops something that gets me back on him, but as I've expanded into the wide world of hip hop, he has less and less of a place for me.
Have I hit you with the Impossible Kid yet? / have you listened to it?
No.
Oh my god. What the fuck? That's next week, sorry. That kind of takes precedence. That album is amazing. Because is the only project you've heard of his Garbology?
Bits and pieces of other ones too.
God, fuck Garbology. Like it doesn't Garbology's fine. Like it's so like fine in terms of his discog. Like it's fun to hear him back with Blockhead, but in terms of the rest of his discog, literally I can fucking take it or leave it. It is just fine. I have to get you on the real, like the actual like shit that people care about.
Yeah.
Pronto. I can't believe I like that. That was like.
I have also heard Skeleton.
Oh, did you like that one?
Not really.
Oh, okay. I dig that one. I think it has really good beats.
It is so long.
I like his. That is sort of a recurring theme. Not the Impossible Kid, thankfully, but Spirit World Field Guide is also long as shit.
I like the cover on Skeleton though.
Yeah, he always has really good album covers.
Except for Malibu Can. Fuck Malibu Can.
I like that cover, but I know everyone else hates it. I think I've mentioned this before, but I have the vinyl and it comes with like a cutout mask that you can wear of that. And when you like take it off, if you like choose to punch it out of the front, which I didn't, I left it on. But if you do, there's like it's like there's like a skull and like muscles and shit underneath it. It's so gross. They committed so hard.
Yeah, it is so committed to being gross.
That album fucks also.
Aesop Rock's album covers are an example of why it's cool to hire artists.
Yes. He may have drawn some of them himself. He might have drawn the Skeleton album cover himself. He does do art.
Oh, cool.
Which oh god, I have to get you on Impossible Kid. Holy shit. That is making me very excited because I think you'll love that album. And he has a whole song about like falling out of touch with visual art and then like rediscovering it as a passion later in life. But he's been like spent his entire life beating himself up about like not being able to draw anymore. And then he like picks up a pencil just for fun. And he's like, oh wait, I'm back in it. That album's so good. I love the Impossible Kid so much. Sorry, I'll talk about this song now. It's fun. I don't know what the fuck it's about.
It's about pumpkin seeds, duh.
I guess. Ace has been doing a better job lately of like making his songs more digestible while still keeping that like really head spinning vocab and like talking about random shit all the time. But this really feels like a lot of old Aesop rock where you just had no fucking clue what he was talking about and you just had to live with that, which is fine, but it's just not what I was expecting to hear from a collab with Lupe.
I also don't love Lupe, so I probably just not. This probably is not made for me.
I think they needed to pick a subject on this song. But I like it well enough. It's fine. It's just kind of weird for this to be their like crossover after all these years of saying how much they want to do crossovers with each other.
Maybe they're not made for crossing over with each other.
Do an album, how about? Then we'll judge that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, she says with fear about having to talk about it on a podcast.
Next up is Violet Pony with Brohoof. Brohoof,
I think. It's Monster Cat. This is pure Monster Cat worship.
Yeah. I was like, I did have another like moment where I was like, damn, I'm going to review a song called Brohoof and I'm going to say Brohoof on a podcast.
Yes. And then what'd you think of it?
I thought, I mean, considering I grew up with Monster Cat, there was like nostalgia there, but also I would much sooner listen to like Pegboard Nerds, you know?
Yeah. I still have some Pegboard Nerds in my library somewhere too.
I was eyeing suspiciously my throwback EDM playlist. It's all the shit that I remember from when I liked as a kid. And I'm just like, I'm going to go on a drive and listen to this soon.
Try this on for size, Mr. Bond.
But yeah, I thought that this was fine. For what it is, which is, like you said, Monster Cat worship. It does feel like EDM lover fan service. This is
the lead single of an album that has now been announced that is releasing pretty soon. I forget when. It has like a fucking ridiculously long title, which the last one that the Cutie Marks did too. Like it was like Cutie Marks and then like a whole subtitle. Which what the fuck is this one called? It is called Carousel: An Examination of the Shadow Creek Flow and Its Life as an Afterthought. Which is a really interesting title, and then the album cover is like an anthropony on a carousel. It is coming out this week. Actually, it comes out on Christmas. So I guess we'll cover that when we come back.
I guess so.
Yeah. I'm decently excited for it. I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah. I was also looking in the previous album from this year is Can Opener's Notebook Fish Whisperer.
What the fuck? I didn't know that came out.
Yeah, that's a thing.
What? Oh, it's a what the fuck? I didn't know this came out.
It's an entire hour long for you. Have fun.
Oh my god, that is fantastic news. I will spin this tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a cute cover.
Yeah, they have such good cover art. The Cutie Marks cover is so good also.
All right, next up is Earl Sweatshirt with Making the Band. Once again, reinforcing that I don't like Earl Sweatshirt.
That's so funny. This is a big step out of the box for him. He has never been on drill production before. I just think the lineup on this song is fucking bizarre. Earl and then Clams Casino, which I don't think they've crossed over before, but like, yeah, that makes sense. And then you put Evil Gianni on here, who has been doing these like sample drill beats for a little while for some popular rappers. I think he's on like an A$AP Rocky song that people really like. Yeah, I don't know. Such a weird crossover, and to hear it come out so straightforward is very odd. Earl is kind of in like his okay, I'm rapping again phase.
I don't know. It was very funny that it was categorized on SoundCloud under ambient.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Evil
that
Gianni
made me laugh.
Definitely seems like the kind of guy that would do that.
Yeah. But I don't know. Earl never makes anything that grabs me.
Have
That's
you
just
heard
the way it is.
Some rap songs?
Yep, and Doris and another one.
Oh, you have heard Doris. Interesting.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of his stuff, and I've never liked him.
I
which is sad.
I wonder if now, having heard a Doom project that you really enjoyed, you would get a little more out of Doris, because on that album he is fucking channeling Doom, like in terms of like how his flows work and stuff. He's like Doom if Doom was 13. It's hilarious.
I just don't like his voice very much, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people love Doris, and it's like a very like comfort album for a lot of people, I guess. But I don't know.
I was a little too young for it when it came out. Like, I missed most of the Odd Future stuff. Yeah, I was 13. I was not listening to this when I was 13.
Yeah.
I was listening to Counting Stars by One Republic. And so I really came in to love him with some rap songs and I Don't Like Shit. And Doris has some cringe ass songs, I'm not gonna lie.
Like that one Tyler song.
Well, I'm okay with that Tyler song because I've just accepted that that's who Tyler was at that point, but I have not accepted that that's who Earl is, because now Earl is so well known for doing like really thoughtful, extremely depressing rap music, and like hearing him just like say like yeah, I like raped your bitch or whatever is like, wow, okay, all right,
Yeah.
you sure were 15.
Yeah, I remember back in the day on Tumblr, I didn't know who the fuck Tyler the Creator was.
Mhm.
And I just remember people like posting like Tyler the Creator is a homophobe and a dick, don't listen to him. And then like 2 years later they were like, "Oh, he's gay." Okay.
Surprise. It was all
Yeah.
internalized the whole time.
Yeah.
I love Tyler so much.
He was
Tyler's
like
very
a
important
big
to me.
no-no artist on
Yeah, he
Tumblr at the
was.
time. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, like some of the shit he says on older albums is like really, really repulsive. Like it's
Yeah.
so bad. But like to learn later that it was all coming from like a lot of internalized self-hatred, like it totally tracks. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And I respect the
right.
growth always.
With that will do us for
That
this
will
time.
do us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Swag ass episode, actually. We had a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that we really enjoyed here for the end of the year. I'm glad about that.
Definitely. It was a nice, we were worried.
Yeah, we were
worried.
definitely afraid after last step.
Yeah, at the end of last episode we were like, "Oh man, is the next one going to be a bummer too?" Fuck. Yeah. So, thank you guys for listening this year, and if this is your first one, thank you very much. If you only listened to one segment and you just ended up here, thank you very much.
If you only listened to the quadeca segment and now you're hate listening to us, we love you too.
We love you too very much, and I hope that you enjoyed the little revisiting.
Yeah.
We never want to stir the pot. We just have takes and want to say them. So yeah, that was basically the ending of my radio show. That's so funny. I always do that.
That is funny. All right, you can follow us on Twitter at PressesCast. Make sure you check out SCAD Radio as well. You can follow this podcast on Spotify, on YouTube at SCAD Radio, and on SoundCloud at SCAD Radio as well. As well. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say you can find me on Spotify through the giant playlist that I'll be putting in the description that covers everything that we talked about this episode. And you can, when the school year starts back up, tune into Megan's radio show.
Indeed. That'll be, you can look at the schedule on the SCAD Radio website and see when I'll be live. But
SCADradio.org.
But it is every day. Well, not every day. Hello.
I wish it was every day.
Every Thursday night from 9 to 11 p.m. EST. It is called Moodering. Slogan is Welcome to Moodering, where I'm playing you a vibe and you're not quite sure what it is, just like a moodering. So yeah, if you wanna catch all flavors of my music taste, see just how different it is from Sophie's after you listen to some of her Spotify playlists, go ahead and do that. The other thing you can do is you can follow me on my art account on Instagram, which is Honeyfern with 2 Y's. See what I post on there. Yeah.
You said that. You said post very Californian.
I did. See what I post.
It's my moral duty as a New Yorker to call you out every time it happens. I'm sorry.
I know. Well, you also gave me the spaghetti pass, so maybe I'll go
That's true.
a little Italian sometimes.
If I say hot dog, you can always clown on me for it. No worries.
Oh, of course. You did say R. Like I've noticed that like people from New England say R's in an interesting way. Like you go like
R's?
it's like in the no like R's like the letter R in songs.
Oh.
You just say it in like the back of your throat.
Pretty.
As opposed
I'm actually
to like
pretty tired or something.
It's like per 80. Like it's like I don't know. It's in the back of your throat. Anyway,
the one thing I know I do is I say bad, which is fine. It's okay. I've accepted it.
Bad. This album's so bad.
This album's bad. I don't want it to be bad, but it is.
Oh, that's funny. I always thought you did that on purpose.
No, I just do that.
That is funny. Oh my god.
Sometimes I play it up, but I do it. It's unfortunate.
Anyway.
What else is unfortunate is that the podcast has to end. But as always, I am Sophie.
And I am Megan.
We are still hot.
And we're still on the presses.
Catch you next time for our end of year shit.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo.
CBD, baby, was something I said.